93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Out of the gun goes Leonard. 3 receivers stacked to the left side. Leonard looks that way. Hitches. Taking a shot wide open downfield. It's Alec Pierce. He's got it. He's going to go. 20, 10. Glides into the end zone. Untouched. He got behind everybody for a touchdown. Alec Pierce from a bomb from Riley Leonard. Man in motion. This time it's Hutchinson. Play action. Rolling left is Stroud. Fires into the end zone. Flicks it into the end zone and is caught by Jaden Higgins for a touchdown. They have the ball at the 1-yard line. Stroud under center, ball on the right hash. They give it to, no, it's Stroud keeping it, keeps it off right edge and scores. He faked it to Togiai, who lined up in the backfield, and then Stroud in the backfield turned the corner off the right edge and then dove head first across the goal line for a touchdown. And now Houston leads 19-10. 3 receivers deployed left. Leonard, shotgun snap, scanning, throws right side into the end zone, has a man, touchdown, Alec Pierce. You know it. 2 today for Pierce. Touchdown, I-N-D-Y. There's a 43-yard field goal, 17 seconds to go. There's snap, there's the placement. Kick clears the line. It is up, end over end, and it is good. Kaimi Fairbairn gives the Texans the lead, 32-30 over the Indianapolis Colts with only 12 seconds, and the Colts are out of timeouts. Colts going left to right, 5 seconds to go. Let's see what they can do. Riley Leonard backs the throw. Drives it over the middle, caught by Josh Downs, 30. Here's a lateral back to Michael Pittman Jr. outside the numbers. Back to Riley Leonard to the 20-yard line, and he just loses the ball. It's available inside the 10. The Texans have it. They're running the other way, and they score a touchdown to the final play of the game. Final score on the Ruoff Mortgage scoreboard will be the Houston Texans 38 and the Indianapolis Colts 30.
Very disappointing season. Didn't go the way we wanted it to go. I hate it for our fans. I hate it for our players. It wasn't good enough. Bottom line, 500 in this league is not good enough. I'm honored to be the head coach here and privileged to be the head coach here. And I'm going to do everything in my power and work tirelessly to get this thing fixed this offseason so we can get over the hump and get into the postseason.
Hey, false start of the host of this show. My bad right there. So Shane Steichen, the Colts head coach, and evidently going to continue being the Colts head coach into year number 4. And you had Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, with all the highlights from yesterday. Meantime, let's go to the press conference. Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, Colts CEO, meeting with the media right now. James.
So I think a sense of urgency, yes, is certainly to win and finish games. I think we had a lot of close games this season, and some of it came down to just being able to finish.
So it's not necessarily playoffs, is it? It's, well, I guess.
Well, every year we're going for the playoffs. Does that make sense?
Okay. Stephen Holder, ESPN.com. How did you sort of weigh this year and the complexities involved in that versus the entire body of work, whether it be Chris and Shane and both of them together?
Which complexities do you mean?
Words, like there's a decision. The decision, it sounds like, was based largely upon how this year played out. But there's also just an overall, in Chris's case, 9 years of track record and that kind of thing. So how much does any of that play into this versus just the results this year specifically?
So I would say, Stephen, it all plays into the decision that we make today. I don't think it's an either or, but I think what we saw as far as the progress, and Shane was able to adapt and change the way, as far as how he works on the roster and assembles the roster, and we believe that he is capable of replicating that next season.
Carlie, James Boyd, The Athletic. Where do you think this team is when it comes to being ready to contend for a championship? Considering you were 8-2 atop the AFC, but also you finished 8-9 and had injuries, things of that nature.
So I think that based on what we had, like I said, the tale of 2 seasons, what we saw in that first half is we were in a record way dominating offensively, and I think with a lot of the roster moves we made, I think we just have to be able to face adversity better, and I believe in the team.
Are the hope to stay healthier or next year, or did that
Well, I think the hope is always to stay healthier, but I think it's also about, 47 seconds left in Seattle. It's about, like I said, finishing games. Kansas City, you lose your starting quarterback. That's on Chris and Shane to be able to find a way to finish those games because injuries are never an excuse. Every NFL club is dealing with injuries.
Carlie, hey, Greg Doyle with Indy Star. Everything about this year for you is new. Every experience. This will be your first time dealing with what you're about to deal with. Maybe you already have fan anger. How does that roll off your back, or does it roll off your back? Just knowing they wanted pink slips, right or wrong, that's what they wanted.
So how does fan anger roll off my back? Is that what you said?
Yeah. How are you responding? How are you feeling about the fact that the whole city seems to want one thing and you've done something else? How are you gonna handle that?
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm pissed, and I totally get that they're pissed. I want to validate them, and we hear them. It was that's not the way we ever want to end a season, and I think as we evaluate it, we're going right back to work to make sure that we find a way to finish and win games next year, and ultimately get us into the postseason.
Carlie, Kevin Bellman, 75 fan. How much did, I guess, the historical nature of the Sauce trade factor into Chris and Shane being retained?
What do you mean by historic nature?
I mean, you don't give up 2 first-round picks very often. How much did that say, because we made this trade, we're committing to them and committing to, I guess, Daniel Jones past 2026?
Well, it's certainly one of the components out of many that we look at, and like we said, Chris was able to. That wasn't something he'd necessarily done before, and I think we were able to see some progress there. And like we said, we faced some adversity, and we just have to find a way to overcome that adversity.
Was there any hesitancy in greenlighting that trade?
No.
James Boyd, The Athletic. Carlie, when you look at Chris in particular, I know you said you have confidence in him to get it done, but where does that confidence stem from when, given his entire resume, there hasn't been a lot of success? 2 playoff appearances, 1 playoff winning, 0 AFC Cup titles.
So that's similar to what I think Steven said, or asked me, which I think is, do you look at 1 year, or do you look at 9 years? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. How much do you look at the entire resume, and what do you look at within those 9 years to give you confidence that a 10th year, a 10th try will be the year that it goes better for this franchise?
Well, I think you have to look at both, and then obviously I think what Chris knows and Shane knows is that the sense of urgency this year has never been higher to be able to win and finish games. I think we made a lot of progress, but we've got to be able to win and finish games.
How do you think that message has been received by them, or what have you done to maybe express that to them that they've never been higher than this upcoming year versus even last year, saying it was pretty high?
Well, the sense of urgency is higher than last year.
Carlie, the 7-game losing streak, I mean, that's obviously way too long. At any point in there, how much did that give you pause, if at all, that you couldn't find a way out of that stretch? Circumstances being what they were, obviously.
In a pause in what regard?
To give you pause to continue saying, because a 7-game losing streak that's not something you ever want to have to entertain, right? So did that give you any pause before you decided to move forward again?
Well, I think you have to look at, like I said, you have to look at the body of the work over someone's career. You have to look at the season, but you also have to look at, when you're evaluating someone, you have to look at the context of the opportunity. And I think, like I said, what we saw, even though, I mean, a losing streak of that nature sucks, to be honest, and it's horrible, and I don't think anyone's going to say, yay, that's good. But I think you have to look at where Chris improved, and that we believe that he's going to be able to replicate kind of what we were on our way to doing before we kind of went through that losing streak.
And one thing to elaborate, you've mentioned a couple times Chris's approach, maybe change in approach. He was obviously more aggressive in free agency. Are those the kinds of things you're referring to there? And is that kind of in line with your vision to some degree? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, I mean, I think the biggest one is, the standard hasn't been the standard. The sense of urgency has to be higher.
because it has been a good deal of time, and we have to be able to find a way to win and finish games and face adversity better. And certainly there are other, there'll be ongoing discussions with Chris and Shane about what we need to do to adjust and adapt.
All right, that's Carlie Irsay Gordon, the CEO of the Colts right there, with their end of the season press conference, which I believe was about 30 minutes or so late today. Listen, there's not a lot that she's going to be able to say that will change anybody that believes that significant measures need to be taken with this team and the path in which it moves forward right now. And that was solidified by just listening to that, because not a lot of people are going to buy into much, if anything at all, what was just said. I wasn't looking for inspiration at all. You would hope to get a little bit of accountability with the way things have gone down. The problem is you don't get that accountability because you are, quote, running it back. Hey, listen, I'm not here to want to see people get fired or to shake my fist and be angry about everything, but I am here to talk about what is real. And what is real would be the lack of results this team has put forward, has given you, the fan, the advertiser, on your return on investment. You guys invest a lot of money and a lot of time in this product. And frankly, that response and the lack of any proactivity that has been taken with this present situation is incredibly off-putting. And if you feel that way, it should be. There's really nothing that was going to be said for those out there that just wanted to see a change and you didn't want to buy anything else. I think really the only type of measures that you would seem to be okay with is if there was a new decision maker moving forward and you still kept the same head coach. But to me, listening to that, and again, it was going to be tough, but that didn't come close to hitting the mark. That's not going to inspire anybody. To me, what I gather from all that is we're okay with where we are. There are no excuses in this game. We understand that, yet there are reasons why Chris Ballard comes back now for a 10th year, because you have excuses that you're using. I understand this. And I've been trying to set you up for this for a long time now. You go back to the NFL trade deadline. You make that deal for Sauce Gardner. You put a mortgage on the future with that deal. Probably right then and right there. That's exactly when you decided that this regime was coming back. But frankly, you can't. You can't go out with 7 consecutive losses and put your hands up and go, well, you know what? It's all about injuries. I mean, you still lose, especially with teams within your division. And by the way, too, teams that with Liam Cohen in Jacksonville or D'Amico Ryans in Houston. And you're lucky that Tennessee jacked around and screwed up their situation with their ownership and Mike Vrabel, or things would be cataclysmically worse within this division. That was not good. That was not good at all. Now, I don't know what you guys expected, because honestly, when you push forward down the same path, that's what you're going to get. Those that are arguing, and believe me, I know it because I set you up for it. I know it because we've talked about this. Why they would end up bringing everybody back. The rationale in which they use. But to me, in all of this, what matters the most, and if you heard the crosstalk with Jake and I a little bit earlier, I mentioned this. You can say where we are right now, or where you were in September and October and what happened, but results matter. And as I said over and over again, You have exhausted every avenue with this regime. Frankly, I wouldn't have had a problem whatsoever if you changed head coaches. I can at least listen to that because I know that you are either wanting to, or let's put it how it is. You're stuck with bringing an injured quarterback back next year. You're stuck with trying to hope that this guy is even close to being ready for the start of the season. You're stuck. Somebody asked me earlier today in social media. Somebody said, the quarterback and Riley, come on now. I like Riley Leonard. It was good for his family yesterday. They lost, and if you think he's it by virtue of that game, you're also a part of the problem with what's going on around here because we're not living in reality. The reality is who you are. The reality is not this made-up thing of what you hope to be or what you could have been. This is the reality. We all live with that every day. I live with that every day with me. The reality is I suck. I try to do the best I can with the suckingness that I was dealt. That's the hand. That's reality. This is not hoping and crossing your fingers that 2 months out of the season can be replicated for the first time stinking ever in 10 years next year. That is not just hope, it's misguided. Jake asked me a little bit earlier, you can't always, actually it wasn't a question, but he framed it up this way. If you do this, you can't listen to the fans, and the quote is, if you listen to the fans, you'll be sitting with them. But I would suggest this. Maybe it's time you do listen to the fans. Maybe it's time you listen to people other than yourselves. I mean, if you're not going to make a change and have other decision makers as a part of the process, maybe you should listen to others. Because simply put, what you have done, no matter the circumstances, it hasn't worked. It has not worked. And there is nothing that you can see that would make you believe that is going to work. You look at all of this in a thumbnail sketch, you have been down every single path. There are, however, two things that remain. The consistency of this organization, of this team, has been failures and especially failing to close. Carlie Irsay Gordon mentioned that a couple of different times. A failure to close. And it's not just this year with a 44-year-old quarterback or a rookie quarterback or running the Wildcat or jacking around with the defense or doing whatever you do. It's been the garden variety. And I will also tell you this. Yeah, there's been accountability out there. There's been accountability for Carson Wentz. There's been accountability for Matt Ryan. There's been accountability for Frank Reich. There's been accountability, but the only accountability that you haven't tried to this point is for Chris Ballard. Where is that accountability? Why should anybody around here believe in this? Even if you can try to logically think where they are and what they were doing, and you believe in September and October, even if you buy any of that, how can you sit there and believe this is going to finally work? Just by basic luck or good fortune. Over a 10-year period, at some point, it would seem that you would be right about something. Something would work. 10 years. And the only team you beat since Halloween got sick and tired of their general manager and their head coach and bounced them earlier today. Arthur Blank's proactive. Jonathan Gannon, same hiring cycle of Shane Steichen. They lost out this season. What happened in Arizona? Jonathan Gannon canned. Hey, listen, I don't like the bad news stories. I would much rather be a part of the Pacers in the postseason and having some fun. But let's face it, the reality is this whole thing sucks. And you've tried everything to de-suck it except one. except for one. So why all of a sudden in year 10 do you buy it? Why do you believe it? Why should it work? I can just as easily suggest, well, you know what? Maybe in year 10 it does finally work because, holy hell, something over the course of a 10-year period should work out at least once. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a tremendous conquest to me. It's like 10 years. Well, you know what? 10 years. That was really good one time in 10 years. Sounds like my basketball career. And people are angry. And people are angry, and people are going to be more angry out of what they just heard. Because when I say that this organization, when I set you up for what was likely to occur, I said because right now, everybody's soaking in it. And what Carlie Irsay Gordon told all the Colts fans out there today, that you guys are also soaking in this. You guys are also, you that pay, you that advertise with it, there's been little to no return on investment. People say all the time, well, everybody was excited about September and October. Well, and rightly so, because you've had so little to be excited about around here. You ever get excited like one time if you're an ugly dude like me and like one time some girl goes, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I get excited about that. It happens like 1 in every 100 times. Yes. Hey, I'm excited. Great. But it's still, in these terms, somewhat meaningless. Just like where they are right now. And I'm not going to use those old cornerstones of failure of if you continue to do the same thing over and over that doesn't work, that's, solidifying how crazy it is, crazy to do it, banging your head against the wall. No, this you had hoped would be an uptick on the management of this organization and the understanding of this organization. I will tell you this, now you got a lot more. You have a lot more questions. I said this earlier this morning on Tony Katz. I said, when you look at this organization right now, I thought what Carlie Irsay Gordon came to as her decision was a decision of convenience. And a decision of convenience is a decision of financial convenience. And believe me, if that's what it is, then you got to find somebody else to take it over. Because you look around the landscape of the NFL, we've got, and we're talking deep pockets. This sounded like a decision of convenience, not a logical conclusion. Not a deeply rooted belief, but a decision of convenience. And we're far too familiar with that. All right, a lot more for you coming up at 239-1070. That email address is jmv at 1075thefan.com. In studio today, thank you all for joining us. I'm assuming that there'll be highlights up regarding that press conference. We did not stay with it all because I did want to jump in and talk a little bit about it. Carlie Irsay Gordon, the CEO of the Colts, a little bit earlier. You heard Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts, on the inbound there with the highlights of yesterday's loss. The Colts lose out, but everything, at least to this point, with the exception of the defensive line coach, evidently is going to remain the same. Now, that stinks too, but at least there's going to be a change there. Same personnel probably, but a change there. I will go over that with the stream, the app, and HD radio. I also want to dive into some IU stuff as well. Zach Osterman's going to join us at the Star coming up at the 4 o'clock hour. Stephen Holder's going to join us at the 5 o'clock hour. A tip of the cap to Braden Smith, Westfield and Purdue guard, for setting a new mark in career assists in the Big Ten. That is outstanding. That's what you strive to do, by God, right there. Yeah, you get told what you are, and then you make something to tell people what you aren't. You press the envelope, you raise the bar. Certainly, I wish that was something more we're talking about today. IU a winner last night as well. IU in the Peach Bowl coming up on Friday. I have a destination location, a first-time show coming up on Friday. I shall explain coming up. Meantime, 239-1070 if you want to jump on board. The text line is 317-239-1070 as well. The stream, the app, it's HD radio. I know a lot of you are angry. I'm not angry. I just think if you live in reality, what we just heard is nowhere near it, which is the entirety of the problem. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Back with you next.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss at 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
It's Johnny for Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37 in Fishers. That is Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson for a new year. He is such a good dude to talk to because he's going to set the pace for you to get that new vehicle of your choice. The inventory that they have, the incentives to buy that you're going to really take place in 2026. Check into those right now because they're ever changing, especially at the beginning of a year. And the service after the sale to maintain the life expectancy of your purchase, it's essential. You're going to find all of those areas at one place. The easy, hassle-free car buying experience with my friend Eric Wilson and Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st State Road 37 in Fishers.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6759. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6759. That's 800-575-6759.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
This is the Fan Morning Show.
What a program. What a turnaround for Indiana football. Truly, who in your right mind that really watches college football thought to themselves, yeah, but Indiana's still just a fairy tale. This is Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey so far. It was a joke when I was in school. I mean, you won a couple games, I'll bring on Alabama. And now you bring on Alabama and you run straight through them.
It's the Fan Morning Show. Weekday mornings on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Dude, most metal
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Out of the gun goes Leonard. 3 receivers stacked to the left side. Leonard looks that way. Hitches. Taking a shot wide open downfield. It's Alec Pierce. He's got it. He's going to go. 20, 10. Glides into the end zone. Untouched. He got behind everybody for a touchdown. Alec Pierce from a bomb from Riley Leonard. His first career passing touchdown. And it comes in Houston. And the Colts lead 6-3.
Oh, that was some good news. You had moments of good news this season. Matt Taylor, the voice of the Colts right there. But it has mostly been the same. It's just a different path that's been taken. There's nothing new here. You know, you didn't strike oil. Uncle Jed didn't, for whatever reason, shoot at the ground and strike oil on the Beverly Hillbillies. Nothing new. This is the same old thing. You just find a different way to do it. I know you guys are all giggling about that, but damn straight, that's exactly what was done. You find a new way to be just like this. Because this is you. When you look in the mirror, this is who you are. I don't want it to be that way. This is zero fun for me. None. I don't like trying to be angry about something that is literally out of my control. I preach to that to G all the time. I go, why are you griping about stuff? It's not in our control. And then here I am for 3 hours griping about stuff that's out of my control. Yeah, it's no fun. But it's up to me and you with opinions and really to frame this up the right way. And the right way was what took place today in that presser with Carlie Irsay Gordon, the CEO of the Colts, did not help 1 ounce. Likely, there was nothing that was going to be said because the action was enough. The action of not doing anything, not being proactive about your product. What exactly are you believing in? You're going to have a similar group without some veterans on this team, but a similar group next year. So why don't you move on with somebody else? It's okay. If you keep the head coach, that's okay. I don't think he's Vince Lombardi Jr. or anything. But I will say this. He helped out Daniel Jones, and evidently Daniel Jones is going to be your guy if he's out there limping around in a cast in September. So I understand that aspect of it. But you've got to do something when you end this way. 7 straight L's. And then when you have a press conference where you talk about no excuses, your actions define excuses. That's the problem. I'm not anti anybody. Everybody's always really nice to me, but I can't come on here 3 hours a day and say, oh, yeah, I really believe in what's going on around here because, damn it, I don't. How could you? How could you? Michael from Louisville chimes in here. Holy crap, that was bad. She just validated what all the doubters of her and her sisters think about them not being able to run this team. And Michael in Louisville, I will tell you this. My expectations were not lofty. But, again, this was more about, it's not just words, what you're saying. Your actions already solidified your lack of approval from Colts fans out there. So you weren't going to backpedal unless you were late because you were deciding, you kind of thought about this again and you decided to make some changes. And this is not just making changes for the sake of making changes. There have been 0 results. I don't know if there's ever been anything more justified than making these changes. Seriously, has there been any more justification to go a different direction? Never. Never. There was nothing she was going to say after yesterday when it was reported that everybody was coming back. When you made that decision yesterday or whenever it was, and I say that was all the way back in early November at the NFL trade deadline when this decision was made. So when you made that decision that everybody was back, and you're not actually living in a reality-based situation, because this is not a reality-based situation. This is, hey, everything is going to be okay. Like Naughty by Nature song. Everything's going to be all right, and then we'll explain how it all went haywire after another loss. My God. Rinse and repeat. That's the script. That is not good and not good at all. Matt in Ann Arbor, Michigan chimes in. What a train wreck that was. JMV starting 8-1 doesn't matter. It's how you end a season, and Chris Ballard has not proven he can end a season well. Why give him another chance? Again, Matt in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And what you do, you can't explain away in answering questions how there are no excuses made in this because you've already made them. You know that saying, actions speak louder than words? That's what you have to see. In this case, that's the truth. All right, 239-1070. James, I have callers here. Is Ramon still on hold right there? 239-1070. Ramon, you want to talk to me?
JMV.
Hello, Ramon.
Oh, my goodness. You set it up great. I just, my assessment of Colts the last 2 or 3 years, definitely 3 or 4 years, is that they don't care. And I'll tell you why they don't care, people. Because they know you're going to come to the stadium. They've gotten the money from the TV contracts. Look at the teams who are always bad. Why are they not better? The Giants, the Jazz, Arizona, the Colts. You know, Tennessee's been frolicking for a long time because they got guaranteed money. They've gotten the money from the TV contracts. They've gotten the revenue sharing. It doesn't matter if they win or lose. They're paid. No other business, no other organization, no other – if we don't go to work, we don't get paid. But yet they're paid. And see, this is what old man Steinbrenner complained about back in baseball when he talked about revenue sharing. He talked about why should he share his revenue with franchises who don't try to win. A la, you finally saw Seattle do something this year in baseball, but for decades they hadn't done anything. Kansas City had 1-2 year run. They hadn't done anything. And the old man Steinbrenner talked about it. Why should he share? The Yankees, like them or not, the Yankees try. They try, but yet this is ridiculous. If you've lost and haven't made the playoffs in 5 straight years, you've got to make a change. You lose 7 straight. You should have cleaned the whole house out. And I'm going to call whoever's over there with the Rams from McVay, Frisco, or Seattle and bring some of those people in here and straighten these things out. Because you're right. They've hamstrung themselves with this one-legged quarterback next year.
Yes.
And it's just going to be in trouble. But
that to me, hey, Ramon, that to me, the decision to just, as everybody, and I'm so sick of the term, it's like, to me now, the Mount Rushmore of. I hate the term run it back, but they have positioned themselves to run it back. They have done so, and it looks like it is a straight in the fan's face and just a decision of convenience, which has no bearing whatsoever on your belief in this team is going to win.
It sure doesn't, JMV. And but as long as the fans keep showing up, you keep going there, you spend all that money in the concessions, she's not going to get the message. Don't show up at that stadium. Then she'll get the message. Thanks, JMV.
Ramon, thank you very much. Everybody tells me all the time, and you got to think about all these owners throughout the NFL have these incredibly deep pockets. And when things go into like mathematics and finances, you know, I kind of go someplace else because if you know me, maybe my best trait or attribute is knowing what I don't know. And I really can't jack around at all in that world. So I've been kind of hesitant to talk about it. But the decision to do this and then hearing what I heard at the start of the 3 o'clock hour from Carlie Irsay Gordon, the Colts CEO, it just reeks of decision-making convenience. Again, there's no jumping the gun on this. There's no making a sporadic, and there's you know, it's not like you're making a lack of thought with serious consequences decision. It's been 9 years, and my God, everything has happened here. I don't even know if you can unearth, if you can find anything else negative that can keep this team from winning. We have seen it all. My God, we've seen enough. You had to be proactive with a decision at least once. And it really didn't matter what was said at 3 o'clock. I mean, it didn't matter because once the decision yesterday came out and was made public, there was nobody, and I mean nobody, that was going to buy what was said at 3. It's not logical. It is not 9 years and lack of results outweighs 2 months of feel good and crossing your fingers and hoping that a quarterback that has universally been injured for the better part of his 7 years in the NFL and had really one good year in the NFL can be the type of quarterback that you're hoping he is going to be and the type of system you're hoping I will say this. if I'm a player right now, if you're a veteran player like Jonathan Taylor or DeForest Buckner, and you know what, you really got to expedite the process of winning because you want an accomplishment. Now, you want to be able to put an accomplishment on your resume. Do you want to be here? Yeah, we all want to be there because you get paid. Hell yeah, but you want to be here? You want to be around this? Do you think like we do that it's just the same old thing? Just loading up with the same old thing. And listen, I was all for Sauce Gardner, and I was excited about the first 2 months. But what I've tried to tell you is it still didn't work out. Thus, it doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. It just does not matter. Because you end up getting the same old, same old. Yet it was a different avenue that was taken for you to arrive there. And there have been definitions of accountability made within this organization over the years, but there hasn't been in one particular spot. Hey, Chris Ballard could have been perfect in his moves. He wasn't, but he could have been perfect in his moves this past year. But 9 years and this record, the lack of playoffs, the lack of playoff wins, not a title in the AFC South since 2014. And I also think you have to understand what's going on in that atmosphere right now, too. You look at Liam Cohen, could be Coach of the Year. D'Amico Ryan, solidified in Houston and Jacksonville, respectively. I don't know what Tennessee already jacked around and screwed things up, and you're lucky they did, or you would be the worst in that division. You're lucky they did. The one thing they have going, they have their quarterback of the future. I don't know what. I like Daniel Jones, but anybody going to bet that Daniel Jones is going to be good to go and healthy and play the entirety of a season and be what he was in the first 2 months of this past year? I'm not that much of a betting dude, but I'm sure as hell not betting on that. JMV, Daniel Jones is a free agent. What happens if he doesn't sign back here? Doubt if it happens, but then what? I don't know what C. Fitch other options he's going to have. And let's just say this. There's got to be a reason as to why they believe he's the $6 million man and he's going to pop back out and be this superhuman guy coming up at the end of July and early August and ready for the start of the season when rarely any other human being, any other athletes ever had we're watching right now the Pacers go absolutely down in flames, losers of 12 consecutive, and I never thought once that Tyrese Halliburton was going to reemerge in that amount of time. So what suggests that Daniel Jones is? It is just misguided hope. And again, what is and should be concerning to everybody out there is that decision was a decision of convenience. You can't and you won't win that way. And believe me, I know this fan base was hoping for more. Oh, you can't listen to the fans. They don't know what they're talking about. I got news for you. There's no evidence that the Colts have known for the past 9 years what the hell they're talking about. Yeah, maybe you should start listening to the fans a little bit. Who we got on hold right now, James? Just give me a random name. Just don't give me anybody, a random name. Who's on hold right here?
We've got Mike in Brooklyn.
Listen, I will listen to Mike in Brooklyn. Mike in Brooklyn may have some rejuvenating ideas. We know Mike very well. But I sure as hell know what we've had for 9 years. And even when it has worked for a moment, it hasn't worked out in its entirety. That's all you need to know. Because you can't keep doing, and really, as I mentioned, with the financials of it, that's going to beg significant questions that need to be asked. Yeah, lie to me and tell me you weren't thinking about that when you were listening to these answers, when you know that Chris has 1 year remaining on his contract. Tell me you weren't thinking about, well, you just really don't want to pay somebody new and then pay a guy not to do his job. And even if that's not the case, you can easily develop a theory that it is. That is never good for your sports organization. Never. I mean, it's been a staple in Cincinnati. I mean, if you're the Reds or if you're the Browns. Quick one, we'll come back. Hey, I tell you what, James, would you see, because I want to see if Zach can go about 4:30. Is that cool with you? Do you mind? We'll see if I can move back Zach to 4:30. I do want to get into, obviously IU is the biggest of deals, and I'm not trying to forget about anything right now, but you understand you got the end of the Colts season and then that press conference that is fresh right now. People want to react to it, so we obviously have to be directed in that fashion. So Zach's going to join us coming up at the 4 o'clock hour at some point. Peach Bowl with IU and Oregon coming up on Friday. Stephen Holder coming up after 5. The stream, the app, it's HD Radio, the AAA membership lounge via YouTube Live, 317-239-1070. That is the text line number, and we're going to start with your calls. We'll see what Mike in Brooklyn has to say coming up on the other side. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey, John, for the District Tap, you got 2 locations, don't you? 2 locations, Northside Clearwater Crossing, downtown Indianapolis. For example, when you've got something going on at the Field House, the District Tap is the place to go. It's got damn good food, great happy hour specials, entertainment, and TVs where you're not going to miss anything whatsoever. Downtown location, a block from the Field House on the north side of Clearwater Crossing. That is the District Tap. A shout out to my friend Michael, who put together an incredible product for you to enjoy no matter what time of day we're talking about. Damn good food, entertainment, and more at the District Tap. To find out about the live music, the event space, the celebration areas, and more, that's thedistricttap.com.
Have you played Cash Pop from the Hoosier Lottery? It's Indiana's newest draw game, and it's poppin'. Match just one number from 1 to 15 to win. Tickets start at $1. Prizes start at $5. Visit HoosierLottery.com. Please play responsibly.
Hey, it's JMV. Are you hungry, Indy? Cluster Truck crushes all cravings. Pizza, taco, salads, and don't get me started on the salmon and roasted veggies. Oh, and delivery is always free. Order now at clustertruck.com and use my code BIGFAN for $5 off a $25 order or more.
The Hoosiers play the Oregon Ducks in a college football playoff semifinal. Friday evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
And you can tell Rolling Stone magazine that my last words were, I'm on drugs.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
To our fans, my sisters and I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your loyalty and support, as always, but particularly this season. You're right to be frustrated with how the latter part of our season went. I'm pissed. We are all pissed. Every season is unique, and this season really was a tale of 2 seasons in one. We were all encouraged by our first half. We experienced a lot of progress, which gives us optimism for the future and the direction we are heading as a team. Then, adversity struck. But no matter what the circumstances are, we have to be able to find a way to win and finish games. Even though we didn't get the results we expected, I'm confident in what we're building and how we're building it.
Carlie, Irsay Gordon, Colts CEO, a little bit earlier. The problem, your actions don't match your words. And Colts fans view that as a level of insincerity that they don't want to deal with. What you said right there doesn't match your actions. I'm not at all suggesting you got to do something for the sake of doing something. You have plenty of evidence to be able to move a different direction. You don't have to have a complete overhaul, and in fact, you probably can't. But you have to do something. It is reasonable, it is logical, just as much as it is fans to take that quote at a high level of insincerity. Meaning you're just saying something for the sake of saying something. This is not the first year or the second year or the third year. I mean, it's not like this is like Mark Davis and the Raiders where you change coaches and general managers like your underwear. It has been 9 years of mediocrity at best. You cannot say that after not doing anything because it looks insincere. And you don't want the fan base. You don't want the fan base and advertisers feeling that way about you. I know you're new to this game, but you can't have that. And it can't look like that is just a matter of decision-making convenience. 239-1070. Give me Mike in Brooklyn before the top of the hour.
Hey,
Hello,
JMV.
Mike. Hello, Mike. How are you?
What's up, JMV? Yeah, I guess it's exactly kind of went down exactly the way you could have predicted it. Listen, I would have moved on from Ballard and Frank Reich after the 21 season. I would have got rid of both of them. I would have moved on the end of last year, 2022, the end of last year, and I would have moved on now, just simply for the fact that, just looking at it from my perspective, just looking at it, I don't think Shane Steichen is a head coach, and I don't think he's ever going to be. And I think I think he's a great offensive mind, and I think Chris Ballard is a very good personnel man. I just don't think he's going to be, a GM to run a team like a Bill Polian was. But that being said, I got to say I'm very impressed with Carlie. I've always been. I like her approach that she's taken, and she came down on the side of, well, if you believe the first half of the season is real, it's legit, then that's what you do. So I guess we're just going to have to let this play out. Am I expecting there to be this great, metamorphosis where it's going to be? I know, not at all. I think this next year probably be more like 2022. But I don't know that there's anything better than to just let it play out. Because getting rid of something that makes sense, like when I heard Daniel Jones is coming back, well, then it doesn't make sense to get rid of Shane Steichen. And if you get rid of Ballard, that really doesn't make sense either, because now you're going to hire a whole new.
See, I think it's perfect time. I mean, because you're stuck where you are right now. It's not like you're making any dramatic decisions. So now's the perfect time to me, Mike, to get rid of Chris.
Do you think?
Yes.
I think they're just going to let it play out this year, and it's basically what it's going to be. It's going to be.
Hey, Mike, let me leave you with this, because you know how much I enjoy what you say in your commentary on this show when you call in. I thought today what Carlie said would have been better off stated inside the text of a statement and not with a spoken word. I thought the spoken word of what she said today made it a lot worse for many disgruntled Colts fans. And I'm talking about valuable Colts fans, but disgruntled nonetheless. If you're going to say something like that and be taken that way, it'd be better off if people are reading it via a statement as opposed to hearing it as we did earlier. Now, in hindsight, I think that was a mistake.
That's fair. I would just say that for me, I've been very impressed with Carlie. I think she's very intelligent, and I think she's really has a pulse on the team.
But you got to get a team president and a general manager. I mean, you can't. You've got to go out. You have to. And Chris ain't it. And I got to go, Mike. I got to go here. I'll talk with you again tomorrow, David. My pal. I appreciate you very much. You got to get the thing that was great about Bill Polian, and I'm just talking about it obviously from the standpoint of just how good he was and the success he had. But he was the overseer of the overseer. He had the Monday Night Radio show. He knew what hallways that those that weren't involved in the organization were not allowed to go down. He did rule with an iron fist, which made him a guy that people are going to go after when he was vulnerable. They need somebody that is accountable across the board for this. I just think all the sideline stuff and the taking notes for Carlie, unfortunately, went completely down the drain today. Quick break. We'll come back. I got to get to Zach because Zach's got to go right here. Here's what we're going to do. I got plenty of time for this conversation, so don't jack around and leave, all right? Plenty of time for the conversation. I do want to get to Zach because IU is in the semifinal of the college football playoff on Friday, and the transfer portal. Quickness with Zach, and back to you on this topic coming up next. Stream the app. It's HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Have you played Cash Pop from the Hoosier Lottery? It's Indiana's newest draw game, and it's poppin'. Match just one number from 1 to 15 to win. Tickets start at $1. Prizes start at $5. Visit HoosierLottery.com. Please play responsibly.
Hey, it's JMV. Are you hungry, Indy? Cluster Truck crushes all cravings. Pizza, taco, salads, and don't get me started on the salmon and roasted veggies. Oh, and delivery is always free. Order now at clustertruck.com and use my code BIGFAN for $5 off a $25 order or more.
The Hoosiers play the Oregon Ducks in a college football playoff semifinal. Friday evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
When it comes to restoring your hair and your confidence, picking the right team makes all the difference. And at We Grow Hair Indy, some of the biggest names in sports, radio, entertainment, trust them with their hair restoration. We're talking Olympians, former NFL players, maybe even a radio host or two. They all chose We Grow Hair Indy because the results speak for themselves. And I've talked with people that have had it out of state, out of the country, and oh boy, some of their endorsements, not the most glowing, but I can be glowing about We Grow Hair Indy. They are excellent. I was a little hesitant at first walking into the building, but they're very reassuring. The education I got from Darren Andrews and his staff made my decision for me, and then I went ahead with the Artist Robotic FUE hair procedure. And from your first visit, I think you're going to know why. We Grow Hair Indy's technology is unmatched, and their team has decades of experience and proven results you can actually see. So if you're ready, take control of your hair loss, choose the right team, and schedule your free in-person or virtual evaluation today. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com or call 317-522-2995.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, Johnny, for LD Smith Plumbing and Drains, that's Lance and his local team at 317-927-7186. That is the best in plumbings and the best in drains. I will say this. When you're getting into this time of year, you get freezing temperatures, and if you got water that's in a clogged up drain, that can be foundationally problematic for you, too. I mean, really across the board. So you got to make sure that you don't have any clogged drains. Start right there with LD Smith Plumbing at 317-927-7186. And also understand that LD Smith Plumbing and Drains are the best at any form of plumbing that is necessary for you. The only people that I use, you should too. Lance and LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. 317-927-7186 online, ldsmithplumbing.com.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The Lowe's Closeout event means the final savings of the season are here. It's your last chance to get deals on seasonal decor, tools, flooring, and so much more. Refresh your home, check off your project list, or simply stock up on the brands you trust. Shop now to grab amazing deals before they're gone. Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 1/7. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
WIBC HD2, W298BP, WIBC HD3, W228CX, Indianapolis. The Butler Bulldogs play host to the St. John's Red Storm tomorrow evening at 6:30 on FM 92.7 Fuego.
The Ride with JMV.
You take drugs, Danny? Every day. Good. So what's the problem? I don't know.
93.5 and 107.5, The Fan.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Hour number 2. James, tell me when Zach is ready. I will say this. I'm going to get into just a smidge of value. You got to double back. James, I want you to get ready again. The opening remarks of Carlie Irsay Gordon. So when we're done with Zach, we can reestablish and go back to the phones. If you're on hold right now, stay right there. We'll get to you. If you want to get a message directly to me, Lickety, 317-239-1070. That is the text line at JMV 1070, where a lot of you act like jackasses, but that's okay. It's not like the normal level of jackassery, but just a little bit. Do that as well. Facebook, I think even I dabble into Instagram. You guys can do it. Carlie Irsay Gordon, Colts CEO, met with the media a little bit earlier today, and at least in terms of what we heard, did not seem to go over very well. I would suggest that nothing that she would have said after her actions of going back with the same would have had any profound positive effect on Colts fans. But yeah, what was said today had been better off just written in a statement. Full disclosure. Back to that in a second, but on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, Zach Osterman of the Star, joins us quickly here. Peach Bowl, IU, Oregon, round number 2 coming up on Friday. Transfer portal. Hey, I'm going to tell you what, when's the last time this time of year you have been outside your mind with stuff going on, Zach, like this in terms of the IU football program?
No, I mean, yeah, it's never really this last month. I think it's never been like this. Not just the pivot to basketball, and I don't mean to start some sort of philosophical debate, but I think a lot of different people have learned down this way that as important as IU basketball has been culturally, over the last several decades, big time college football is a little bit of a different animal, and I think Indiana is learning that in a meaningful way in real time here.
Has IU, to me, has announced their presence in this new college athletics landscape with authority, both financially and what they've proven coaching-wise and on the field. And we saw with the transfer portal, the success they've had so far today, really the last couple of days, and where they are coming up on Friday in the Peach Bowl. How do you maintain this level of momentum? Because honestly, Zach, it is incredible.
No, I mean, listen, I think if you're doing it right, and that's kind of the loaded sort of question, but if you're doing it right, I think what's clear is it can be maintained, pretty consistently, because the portal anymore, Curt Signetti talks so much about, well, hey, listen, my turnaround doesn't happen nearly as fast without the portal and those opportunities and those resources. But I think for anybody, and Indiana's an example of this, but it's not the only one, the portal means you kind of don't ever have to you don't ever have to be young again. You don't have to miss on a quarter, if you miss on a quarterback evaluation or a tackle evaluation or a corner evaluation, if you're doing it right, you can make up for that. Right now, Anna's putting this portal class together, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, these are all the best players that you've ever seen, and I've combed through all their film, and they're all great, and Indiana's going to be right back here next year. But the class that Indiana's putting together in the portal right now is the one that's kind of going to be bridging the gap between basically the chunks of the roster that were lost in the coaching change 2 years ago to that maybe more sort of stable balance Signetti has talked about of we want a little bit more on the high school side that we bring up and develop, and then we augment that through the portal. This is probably going to be the class that really sort of is that bridge between where Indiana's been these last couple years and where Indiana will want to go in the future. And that's what the portal's allowed you to do, is say, if you had a class that you just missed on, or maybe it was the victim of a coaching change, or at very least, maybe there were a couple of really important positions that you kind of, you really backed your evaluation. You said that guy is going to be the right guy for us. We're not going to take anybody else. That's going to work. And it didn't work out. The portal allows you kind of that second chance. And to be able, in particular, you look at virtually all these kids Indiana's got committed in the portal right now, to be pulling kids with Power 4 experience and meaningful snaps at a Power 4 level. And that's, I think, maybe the step up that Indiana takes next is, can you not just compete for transfers, but maybe compete for guys?
This is Zach Osterman of the Indy Star, covers IU Peach Bowl coming up on Friday, round 2 with Oregon. I do want to get to that in a second. Have you seen The Breakfast Club from the 80s?
Yeah, of course. I grew up watching TBS.
Okay. So I look at IU a little bit like the Ali Sheedy character right now. Yeah, nobody really cared about her, and back of the room, nobody cared. And then all of a sudden you slap a little, makeup and you're looking pretty, and all of a sudden very noticeable at the forefront, and, all of a sudden very hot. This is what I assume Curt Signetti has done with this program, has completely Ali Sheedied this IU football program. And obviously, Scott Dolson has a great deal to do with it. The president leadership has a great deal to do with it. Finances have a great deal to do with it. It's an amazing transformation, but to me, it's very much like that present time.
Yeah, I think, Curt Signetti is the sort of the key that slid everything all into place. And I've written about this. I've said this to people. I think that both Scott Dolson and Fred Glass before him, there was a concerted effort over 10 or 15 years to say football is more important than we've been treating it here institutionally. We have fallen behind in facilities, in resources, in staffing, and we can't turn that all around overnight. And obviously this was in a pre-portal era where, maybe now it does feel like you can do it a little bit faster. But we need to just consistently build a stronger foundation, a stronger infrastructure. And Curt Signetti himself has referenced, I think it was his first Big Ten media days where he said, everybody told me this is a hopeless job, yet 3 years ago they were one score away from playing in the Big Ten championship game. So where does that square up? I think what Indiana has tried to sort of capitalize on, because obviously, again, I would argue Signetti is kind of the coach that has the ultimate secret sauce on this, is to say that every time there's been an opportunity to double down on that success, whether it has been new contracts for Curt Signetti, new contracts for his staff, keeping not just his coaching staff, but his recruiting staff, his behind-the-scenes sort of support staff together, keeping the roster together. Indiana hasn't had, at least so far, meaningful defections that they would not have wanted, players they would not have wanted to lose in the portal. You know, I think Signetti referenced, interestingly, a few weeks ago, he said, you know, when I walked in here, we had an NIL budget that we thought was, you know, what we needed. It turned out we needed basically, you know, double, I forget exactly what he said, but double that or something like that. And we were able to pull that together, you know, in relatively short order. The point is, Curt Signetti has kind of delivered the success. And every time maybe the benchmark has moved up a notch, Indiana has found a way to keep moving up with it, because I think Indiana recognizes, justifiably, that football is the vehicle that keeps you at the table in modern college sports. And as we start to talk about some of the stuff that people don't want to think about, and don't get me wrong, it's not a lot of fun and games to sort of play the tape through to the end for any of us. But as we start thinking about conference consolidation and, you know, how media rights are going to get split up in the future and who the haves and have-nots are going to be, if you can prove that you're going to win at an elite level in football, you're going to have a lot better shot of a seat at the table in that future. And I think Indiana recognizes that, and that is why you have seen such sort of emphasis on constantly doubling down with Curt Signetti.
Andy Moore, Automotive Group Hotline. Zach Osterman of the Star. Josh Hoover, the quarterback, you always put a level of importance in that position with the quarterback, but among those others secured in the transfer portal outside of the now former TCU quarterback, give me the level of importance of some of these guys, their names, their position of play, and the level of play you believe that they can give Curt Signetti and company coming up next year.
Yeah, I mean, the one that I will freely confess I probably think the most of, and admittedly have probably seen more of than some of these guys, is Nick Marsh, the wide receiver from Michigan State, who I think was a real bright spot in an otherwise obviously really ugly sort of episode in that. Not ugly, I mean, just ugly in terms of results. Obviously, there have been uglier episodes off the field, you know, for Michigan State football, Michigan State athletics. But I think just on the field, just the total sort of misfire, the Jonathan Smith hire, you know, Marsh was one of the few real sort of bright spots. It seemed like he was headed to Notre Dame, and Indiana kind of turned him around. I think he is a natural replacement for Elijah Surratt, who will obviously be out of eligibility after this year. I think adding multiple edge rushers with Power 4 experience, the two transfers from Kansas State's really important. We know Indiana is going to lose its top 3 edge rushers to attrition this season. They've actually added 3 themselves. That Josh Burnham from Notre Dame coming in as well. I am not going to sit here and act like I am, you know, an expert on breaking down game film, but when I watch, and I'm not sure if it's Turbo Richard or Turbo Richard, the running back from Boston College, there is a lot that is familiar in sort of his makeup, his physical sort of profile, 5'8", maybe about 210, 5'8", 5'9", about 210 pounds. When you think about the running backs Indiana's had success with the last 2 years, Justice Ellison, Tyson Lawton, Kalen Black, Roman Hemby, you know, maybe some of those guys have been a little bit better at making you miss. Maybe some have been a little bit more explosive. But what they've all been really good at is kind of finding the hole and really being explosive through it and just constantly moving the ball forward. Even if it's only 2 yards, maybe 2 yards becomes 4 yards in the second quarter, becomes 6 yards in the third quarter. We saw that with, you know, the Alabama game just a few days ago. Richard, we'll find out in time. Forgive me. There's been too much going on these last few days for me to figure out how to pronounce everybody's name. I'm worried about 2025 before I get into 2026.
No, I would have said Richard too, though. So don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah, but you know, he's certainly profile wise and film wise, you can see like he looks like kind of a Curt Signetti, Mike Shanahan, John Miller running back. And so I mean, these are, you know, reloading at safety. I'm not sure I'm comfortable. I believe Jaquan Sanks, the safety from Cincinnati, is related to Jasper Sanks, who is a running back at Georgia that I grew up watching. I'm not sure I'm comfortable feeling quite that old yet. But, you know, we're all, I guess time comes for all of us at some point or another. But reloading at safety is obviously important with at least 2 of those guys gone. And I think even, you know, Indiana likes Byron Baldwin, Amari Farrell's will have a draft decision to make one way or the other. But we also spent this entire fall kind of saying, hey, Indiana is only one injury away from some real trouble at safety. That was one of the positions that kind of they were lucky maybe to get through most of the season without any meaningful injuries other than Byron Baldwin, the freshman. This gives them maybe a little bit more depth as well. And they're not done. They've got 8, I believe, right now. They still need probably some help along the offensive and defensive lines. They still need, I would say, multiple bodies at tight ends. I think they're going to wind up in the 16 to 18 range of total incoming transfers, provided they don't lose anybody that they don't want to, which is obviously always a possibility once you get the other side of the season. But this is certainly a very, very good start, just in terms of, if nothing else, everybody's going to – portal recruiting is not perfect, especially with more developed players, guys who only have 1 or 2 years left. One guy is sort of, this is the player we need, he fits exactly what we're trying to do, isn't necessarily going to be another program's, sort of, diamond in the same way. But a lot of these guys were like in the first wave of players Indiana had on campus. I don't think it's too much of an inference to draw that these were priority targets for Indiana, and to land so many of them so quickly is obviously very encouraging.
All right, Zach, coming up on Friday, rematch back in early October. Speaking of announcing your presence with authority, that was kind of IU's announcement with a 30-20 win over Oregon. Then it was fourth quarter drive. Obviously that's when everybody started to realize the talent of Fernando Mendoza, but really got started with Lewis Moore, I thought, defensively, in what IU was able to do. And that was a game, if I remember correctly, where IU looked as physical as I can remember, and that has been a staple since. What would you suggest would be the tenor of your expectation regarding the rematch of the Peach Bowl coming up on Friday down in Atlanta?
I mean, it is, you're always sort of second guessing yourself, I think, with an in-season rematch. They happen a lot less frequently than I think we realize. Mike Nisley, my colleague at the Herald Times, pointed out, I think Kurt Signetti's only had one his entire head coaching career, and it was when he was still down at Division II with IUP. I think both these teams are better. I think Dante Moore's improved as the season's gone on. I think Oregon is maybe a little bit healthier at the skill positions than they were when Indiana played them in Eugene. And Indiana has taken some hits in the pass rush, which was such a big piece of the way Indiana won that game. But on the other hand, I think Indiana's offense is better than it was, what was that, I guess, almost 3 months ago now. I think Indiana's run game is healthier than it was. I think Fernando Mendoza is better than he was. I think that the offensive balance that Indiana's been able to achieve, even against some good teams, when you think about Alabama, when you think about, even to a certain extent, the way that they were able to move, maybe not score the ball, but move the ball and get some crucial conversions and some field flips against Ohio State. I think both these teams are better, is what I'm trying to say, than where they were, back in that October game in Eugene. And I think that if Indiana, somebody asked me this earlier today, like, how's Indiana going to feel like it matches up with Oregon? I think you're at a point in the season, and I think it's probably true of both these teams, where if you're worried too much about what the other team's doing, then you probably have some wider concerns. I think both these teams are going to look at it and say, by this point in the calendar, we're in a college football playoff semifinal. We've won 12, 13, 14 games. We've beaten some really good teams. We're going to do what we do, and we're going to do it to the best of our ability, and we're going to make the other team adjust to us. One of the, I think, justifiable criticisms of Alabama's approach to the Rose Bowl was that it felt a little bit too much like Alabama was playing Indiana and playing the occasion rather than trying to emphasize its own strengths. I don't think either of these teams is going to do that. And I think there's going to be some wrinkles that obviously Dan Lanning comes up with, particularly for the way that Oregon attacks Indiana's offense. I think Indiana is going to have some wrinkles of its own, especially, again, because I think Oregon has evolved offensively. And I think it's just going to be a fascinating game, because I do think I would not be shocked if this looks markedly different on both sides than that game did in Eugene. I just think both of these teams and both of these staffs are going to have the ability to really just do something different, frankly.
Yeah, I think that one thing is going to be dramatically different is that is going to be, to me, an incredibly pro-IU crowd. Not that Oregon, they don't have deep pockets that can travel. It's not like Stand By Me out there. I realize that. But they'll have some fans there. But that should be an IU crowd heading down to Atlanta coming up on Friday as well. That's Zach Osterman. He's of the star of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Hey, man, thanks for coming on here today. I appreciate that very much. Next time we'll talk a little bit of hoop. But thanks for hanging on with all that is going on around here today. And we'll be curious to read what you have to say about Friday in an unprecedented situation for this football program. Very exciting, Zach. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, as always. Good talking to you.
Zach Osterman of the Star of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right, Carlie, Irsay, Gordon met with the media. Postseason presser a little bit earlier today. And if you've been a part of this conversation so far, you know my feelings on it. I'm gathering a lot of your feelings. But if you missed it, here was the opening statement from Carlie, Irsay, Gordon earlier today.
To our fans, my sisters and I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your loyalty and support, as always, but particularly this season. You're right to be frustrated with how the latter part of our season went. I'm pissed. We are all pissed. Every season is unique, and this season really was a tale of two seasons in one. We were all encouraged by our first half. We experienced a lot of progress, which gives us optimism for the future and the direction we are heading as a team. Then, adversity struck. But no matter what the circumstances are, we have to be able to find a way to win and finish games. Even though we didn't get the results we expected, I'm confident in what we're building and how we're building it.
All right, Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, a little bit earlier today. And I think we would have played, James, maybe 5 minutes of it with maybe 4 or 5, a handful of questions and then answers. To me, it would have been better off to just do that via a statement and have people read that and not actually say it. Because here's the problem that you have is that you already set the pace with this organization with doing the same thing, making the decision yesterday to bring everybody back. And there wasn't anybody out there that is a non-believer in the path in which you're taking once again, that all of a sudden was going to be turned and believe it by what you say. And in fact, I thought she made it a lot worse today. Because when you say there are no excuses, there are excuses. There have been excuses for 9 years that there have been excuses. I'm not trying to put all of this on the general manager, but it is such a rarity. You see the lack of results, and a general manager, or really anybody for that matter, organizationally, ever survives unless you have a stake of ownership in the team at a position like that. It reeked of a lack of sincerity, even if that wasn't what was meant. And the whole decision seems as if it was more of a decision of convenience than logically believing in what you have going on organizationally. Quick break. We'll come back with your thoughts on that. 239-1070 if you're on hold. I'll get to your calls. The text line, 317-239-1070. AAA Membership Lounge. Become a AAA member in 2026. Thank me later for that. That's AAA.com. HD Radio and more. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss of 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Johnny for Love Heating and Air Conditioning. That's Love Heating and Air to start out a new year. Hey, you have to make sure of what? You have to make sure that everything is going efficiently with your system right now, and there's no better place to do it than with John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air. You might ask me why. There are a significant number of reasons as to why, but you know what you get with Love Heating and Air and the JMV special. Think about that right now, making sure that your cold winter nights are comfortable. If you have an issue with your system, get Love Heating and Air to come over, check the efficiency, and if you need a repair, you mention that JMV sent you, you'll get $95 off that repair with Love Heating and Air. It's that simple, making sure you're warm and comfortable when the temperatures outside during the winter in central Indiana aren't. Johnny Chris Love Heating and Air, 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
Have you played Cash Pop from the Hoosier Lottery? It's Indiana's newest draw game, and it's poppin'. Match just one number from 1 to 15 to win. Tickets start at $1. Prizes start at $5. Visit HoosierLottery.com. Please play responsibly.
Hey, it's JMV, and I only talk about the best, and that is Big Red Liquors, and they do it again with their secret deals. What it is, a speakeasy, weekly text at BigRedLiquors.com. That unlocks Big Red's lowest prices. Every Monday, Big Red announces deep discounts on items that are on sale in stores Monday through Wednesday of that week. They do that by text. Thus, you are in on the big secret. The secret deals at Big Red Liquors. Log on and find out more. BigRedLiquors.com today.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Your home for indie sports. Now with even more ways to listen.
Listen on air.
Online at 1075thefan.com.
And on our free app.
Stay connected to all things indie sports, including the latest news, show blogs, and catch up on what you've missed with our podcast.
We're never more than just a click away.
Download our app at Google Play and on the App Store. From your home for indie sports.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
It's called Sex Panther by Odeon. It's illegal in 9 countries.
It's quite pungent. It stings the nostrils.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Ultimately, though, I am responsible for our team's performance and the promise that we made to be the best. Our extremely disappointing second half of the season wasn't up to our standard, and that falls on me. At the same time, there were moments during the season that gave me reason to believe that we can achieve sustained success under Chris and Shane's leadership. Good design is never done, and as with every offseason, we will work diligently to improve and find a way to win.
I can go over all the numbers that would actively work against that. So what we're normally, I guess, going on with that thought in mind. By the way, Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, Colts CEO, a little bit earlier today. As we're playing off of that, with the end result of the Colts season ending this campaign on a 7-game losing skid, no postseason once again, and feeling it necessary to go ahead and do it all over. And hoping that a quarterback is the $6 million man and ready just in time to start the season and stays healthy for the first time during the course of the season, and you can replicate the type of season you are having over a 2-month period. I would have to ask you this. September and October, does it outweigh 8 years and 3 other months? Does it? Do those 2 months give you reason to be excited? Or do you think it was just another chapter in this War and Peace novel that we have gone through over the years of why this team cashes out at mediocrity? I was talking to Mike in Brooklyn, who always makes a great deal of sense. And he's not in a similar category of many of us right now. And he thought, you know, what Chris did, what the general manager's office did this past year was good enough to translate into September and October. And how would, you do and make a change and making a change right now? I would suggest now is the easiest time, the most transitional time to make a change in that office, because you're going to be relatively the same. Seriously, what are your objectives this offseason? What can you do? What assets do you have to move around? What measures can you take? Really, the major thing you have to do is come up with the cash to retain Alec Pierce, or to hope that he has interest. Well, in simply put terms, his retention. Hopefully he wants to return. What else can you do? You don't have a number one draft selection. You can't be making a lot of moves. In fact, what you're probably going to end up doing is taking in some cost-cutting measures to make sure that you can pay Alec Pierce. But what is it that you can do? I mean, what is it that's going to make this season? What I'm saying is we're all just kind of soaking in it right now. So if you were going to make a change, this would be, to me, the easiest opportunity to make a change. But when you sit here and you don't do anything, that reeks of decision-making convenience. And then people, because now you've taken over ownership in this capacity, are going to start the dialogue of, do you have enough money? I mean, it's one thing to suggest if you are going to be able to do this job and run this team in general, but do you have the resources to be a major player consistently where everybody around here expects us to be, or where in what you say in your opening statement with your words where you expect to be? I'm not suggesting you do something for the sake of doing something. That would have happened 7 years ago. That's what the Raiders do. The Raiders do stuff just for the sake of doing stuff. Okay, you're not the Raiders, but you also aren't anybody successful. And there's been a rinse and repeat saga in Houston and in Jacksonville, who now seem to be on the right path. Tennessee has a quarterback. We'll see how their leadership either screws this up again or finally finds some common ground. They had a coach. You're lucky that they decided to go ahead and send Mike Vrabel packing. I mean, all of a sudden, this stuff is going to get a lot tougher when you're supposed to get better. Are you going to be able to match that? What suggests you're going to be able to match that? These are all logical questions I think everybody should be talking about right now, and we do at 239-1070. 317-239-1070 is the text line if you guys want to chime in on that. Austin is up next on line number 2. James, give me Austin. Hello, Austin. How are you?
Good, sir. How are you?
Great. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, and if Colts fans are surprised at this point, after 9 years, they shouldn't be. But I think the biggest thing with Carlie is she's just way in over her head. I mean, you can tell from the press conference today, her words, she's fumbling over them. She has no real answer for why Chris is still here. All they had to ask her is, hey, Chris has been here for 9 years. His big emphasis when he got here was the pass rush, getting after the quarterback. He's invested how many picks and how many millions of dollars into that side of the ball, and they're still bad. They had 2 quarterback hits yesterday. I mean, what are we even talking about? So I think the biggest thing is she needs to hire executive vice president.
100 Austin% right there. And, and people, it's not who's here right now. That's outside the organization. Somebody that knows everything about the inner workings and everybody, the overseer, that has to happen. 100%.
The bigger issue is they don't have anyone. I mean, Chris has been here for 9 years. His scouting tree, he doesn't have anyone from his tree who's leading an organization right now, and there's a reason for that. It's because people say he can draft well. He finds linebackers okay. Zair's been bad for 4 years, but it is what it is. He's cheap. But the overarching issue with him is he didn't spend enough in free agency to supplement what issues were on the roster. And he always goes into every training camp with issues that even the fans can see. and he doesn't address them.
Austin, let me tell you this. And I want you to play off of this. Hang with me for a minute, Austin. I view him as reactionary and not proactive. And to me, that doesn't work. Like, you react to, oh, this is what we need, but there's no proactivity. You're not in front of it. You're always reacting to it, thus you're always behind it.
Not only is he reactionary, he's also sentimental to the players that he drafts, and he keeps them here longer than they should be here, right? So it's throughout the whole roster, too. And the Michael Pittman, I love him. He seems like a great dude. He's not worth $20-something million a year. And look at yesterday. How many passes did he drop? Is that because he's watching Alec Pierce boss him into like a legit guy, and he's sitting there like, wow, I guess I'm not as good as I am. And he comes out in the press conference after the game like, yeah, I didn't have a good year. I guarantee you he's going to come back. They will not trade him. You're paying Quentin Nelson $20+ million a year. He's a guard. You don't have any pass rushers on the roster. You're bad at linebacker. Right, it's a fundamental thing, and until the entire organization realizes that there's a fundamental issue here, I mean, why doesn't Peyton Manning ever come back and talk and
because they canned him. Well, they got rid of him. I mean, you can't tell me he's not always going to be thinking about the fact that they got rid of his ass. So even if he does still love people.
Why doesn't Andrew ever come back? Why don't?
Because he does. Yeah, he doesn't. Luck doesn't give a crap. He doesn't give a crap to be around here. He didn't want to be around here at the end. He was ready to get the hell out of here, so he doesn't want to be, and he's doing other stuff. But I understand what you're talking about, especially with the way the roster is constructed. And I think the greatest example of that is the Houston Texans. I mean, look what they have done at essential positions. I mean, positions that are difference makers, or as Rick Venturi will say when we have conversations, those ambient players at those ambient positions. I mean, they solidified that by whatever means necessary. And, the Colts think they do that. And then ultimately you kind of get the same old, somebody that's either right down the middle or, even below the mean in this case. And it just has not worked. Even when you're reactionary, Austin, and you go out in free agency, I mean, look what you're going to have to deal with now, and I hate it because I love Mooney Ward as a great dude. But when you say today that you're contemplating retirement, we've seen this before. You're retired. Are you not? You're done. And I don't blame him for being done because you're concerned about concussions and the effect on the rest of your life. But, again, you've been down every avenue, and none of this is translated into winning. So I just don't get what's to understand here.
There's nothing. And Mooney Ward, yeah, he's a great player. That's another contract that, man, like it's $18 million in dead money if he retires.
Yeah.
And this is not an organization that's flowing with just money that can do what these other organizations do and pay whoever they want and just kick the can down the road. They won't do that. And nothing is ever going to change until whatever cancer is in that building, like they just lack toughness. You brought up the Texans. Every one of their starters is from the SEC. You brought the Jaguars. Every one of their starters on defense or impact players are coming from the SEC. Who do the Colts have? I mean, Leatu Latu, Big Ten, Grover Stewart, who even knows, DeForest Buckner, Pac-12. And they're just lacking toughness. And you have to start, if you want to be tough, you have to draft tough players.
I will tell you this, and I said this earlier this year, and it was even before Daniel Jones was compromised with injury. When things were free and easy, these guys are really good. I mean, they can play when things are going right. But when things start to happen around them and start to go a little bit of haywire, I mean, you can easily put them down and they go away. And I think that speaks exactly to what you're defining right here.
Yeah, the 8-2 start and everyone was going crazy, and you're beating on bad teams. The two good teams you played were the Rams. They beat you, right? Steelers, they really beat you. I mean, they beat you up bad.
And they were found out of that game. They were found out in that game by the Steelers too. But hey, yeah, Austin, we agree with a lot of things on here too. And I think you are a voice, and thank you for the call. You are a voice out there with a lot of Colts fans, and they feel the same way. And when I mean that presser today was inadequate, that is the feeling. That's the majority out there. That's who you're talking to. That's who you're reaching. And with the words that were said at that press conference today did not give those real fans pause to believe you have a solution or to even buy into what you're saying. I just don't think that there was a way you could go about this that would keep everybody engaged and believe what is going on. And I still think you could have made a change. You could have made a change because you're still going to be on this path anyway. I mean, this is it. What the hell else are you going to do? This is it. And you could still the level with your results that is necessary. And as I mentioned, 9 years has long since been enough. I don't know what else there is to talk about. You could say you had September and October, but man, it just doesn't matter. Because when it really counts, your ass is sitting home in January. Well, there are no excuses in this league. Well, I just heard a battery of excuses. And so does everybody else, and those people matter. Those people have been invested for a number of years and seen the same results, albeit different variations of a determining outcome. But it's always been the same. And there's a reason why they're sick and tired of it. There's a reason why you may be dealing with a level of apathy to start this season that we have never seen around here. I mean, it's football. I'm sure ultimately everybody gets excited, but damn. See, Josh says change is hard and uncomfortable. They just don't want to be uncomfortable. It's far easier to stay comfort zone, but where's that gotten the Colts? And that's, Josh, why I suggested that the decision to stay on this course was a decision of convenience. And you can look at it that way, and you could look at it as a financial convenience. Neither are good. Neither is believable when you're trying to tell everybody out there, listen to me, we want to have a winning organization, and we believe in this. Nothing makes that believable. 239-1070. Can we lead with Greg coming up on the other side? If you're on hold, I'll get to you. Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour. His thoughts on where this team is right now, the Carlie Irsay Gordon presser a little bit earlier today, and a hell of a lot more, too. I mentioned the Mooney Ward situation, too. It's just, if I were him, I'd retire. If I had questions and 3 concussions, never had it, and kind of wondered what was going on, and people around him are telling him to retire. Normally, when you mention that, you've got 1 foot out the door. That's problematic. Hey, shout out to Braden Smith of the Boilermakers, the former Westfield Shamrock Big Ten career assist leader. And the Boilermakers got after Whiskey and Madison on Saturday night. And a shout out to Braden Smith, who was a friend of this show. We're very proud of him. What a good dude, and a high honor, to say the least. Now I think you can even go after the NCAA. Is it the NCAA? Yeah, the NCAA mark, I believe, too. Shout out to Braden Smith. Quick break. We shall return. The Stream the App, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, and it's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Indiana Tech gave these grads more than just a degree. It gave them a future.
I earned a master's degree in organizational leadership and the opportunity to serve others.
I earned a degree that helped me get promoted at a great company and become the first college graduate in my family.
I earned an engineering degree that taught me to succeed in technical roles and in life.
I got the chance to work for a professional sports team with a winning experience thanks to flexible online classes.
With personalized support to help you succeed, over 100 high-quality career-focused certificates and degrees in in-demand fields like business, healthcare, criminal justice, information technology, cybersecurity, and more. Indiana Tech doesn't just give you a degree, it gives you the opportunity of a lifetime. Learn more about what Indiana Tech can do for your future at online.indianatech.edu.
Registration for the next class session ends January 9th.
Hey, start a new year off right with real growing hair. So you're going bald. You feel that you're going bald, or you can actually see that you're losing your hair. Do something about it. I've been talking about being proactive about stuff. Be proactive about that with 317-522-2995. That conversation with Darren Andrews with WeGrowHairAndy.com will get you on track to have your real growing hair again. No pipe dream. This is not a myth. It actually works. It's your real growing hair. Talk to Darren Andrews today. 317-522-2995 or WeGrowHairAndy.com.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call now.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Nobody likes a cold shower. LD Smith has hot deals on water heaters. Save up to $300 on a new water heater install.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
It's a new year. Ready for a fresh start or career reboot? At My Computer Career, prep for a more recession-resistant future in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity. In months, not years, including AI. Whether you're starting out or switching careers, no prior training is needed. Attend school online from home or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu to take the free career evaluation today. mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Jake Query here. Each weekday noon to 3, guests appear live on the Java House Peel and Pour guest line. Use code JAKE25 at javahouse.com to save 25% on your first order.
The Butler Bulldogs play host to the St. John's Red Storm tomorrow evening at 6:30 on FM 92.7 Fuego.
The Ride with JMV.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist, and I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Thank you very much, sir.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Chris will continue as our general manager, and Shane will continue as our head coach for this next season. We have been very clear with Chris and Shane that giving them another opportunity means that the sense of urgency for them to deliver and perform has never been higher. Chris and Shane are both capable of facing this challenge head on and finding a way to achieve the results that our fans deserve, which is winning games, getting to the postseason, and ultimately winning championships.
Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, Colts CEO, a little bit earlier. While I've said this a number of times, there was absolutely, after yesterday, in coming out and saying that both head coach and general manager will return with a team that lost 7 straight out of the postseason once again and has been basically over the past 3 years, and if not going back even 6 prior to that, 9 years overall, mediocre at best. No matter what she was going to say today was going to be problematic. And most Colts fans out there, and I feel I have a pretty damn good finger on the pulse of what Colts fans believe right now, what Colts fans want right now. And whatever she was going to say after her actions, most Colts fans out there were not going to hear it, didn't want to hear it. But that was definitely the wrong path. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, if you're going to say that, don't hold a press conference, write it on a statement, and let people read that. Because hearing it just makes you more pissed and puts not 1 ounce of belief into your new leadership at the owner's level. It just doesn't. It does not convey an ounce of strength. So if you truly believe that, that was best to be typed out in a statement. Again, if that's a path you plan on taking, let's read it and not hear it. Because hearing it, I felt, even though nobody, for the most part, was going to buy it anyway, hearing it made it worse. Stephen Holder coming up after 5. Big week later on this week in a new place. We're going to do a live show coming up on Friday. Got info for you coming up. 239-1070. Greg is up next today. Hello, Greg.
Hey, JMV. How you doing, buddy?
Greg, I'm great. Thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Well, as far as the Colts are concerned, I don't want to hear from them until, I guess, springtime. I don't.
Well, they're not playing in the postseason, so you're not going to hear much out of them. So, familiar position, Greg.
Golf starts again next week. Australian Tennis Open starts again next week. And
hey, Greg, are you trying to bore me out with these details right here?
No.
Why don't you just come down here and kick me square in the junk or something, man? Good Lord. Give me something I can go on of interest here, for God's sake. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
Pitchers and catchers report at the end of February. So
yeah.
I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, well, and then I get to watch the Reds, who are vaguely familiar to the football team around here. So, yeah, kind of riding along with the Reds like I do covering the Colts around here. There's some similarities to be made.
Buddy, I'm telling you, since I've lived here, I've got to like the Reds.
Well, good. I'm glad. Hey, Greg, anything else? I got to get to other calls here, my brother, but it's good to hear from you. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, Greg. Greg was bumming me out about stuff. The Pacers have lost 12 straight. Shout out to both IU football and Purdue basketball for keeping our head above water. Good Lord. Otherwise, this whole thing sucks. Just all bummed out. Like, Greg, just come down here and kick me in the junk, why don't you? A lot of you probably would agree with that. Hey, give me Matt up next. James at 239-1070. Matt, thank you for the call.
Hey, what's going on?
Hello, Matt.
Wow. That was like expecting a bike for Christmas and getting a box of Lifesavers.
Oh, man. You ever, I don't even want to. Remember the reference of having a general vicinity, an area that's blue because you thought something was going to happen and it didn't? That's what that left me with.
Yeah.
Elephantitis of the midsection I just got from that call. Yeah.
I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. That was a disaster. I mean, the gist of it is she thinks the fans are upset about the collapse this year. I mean, does anybody not get it?
Well, hopefully, I'm trying to adequately explain it to people. Hopefully, if they didn't get it, they are starting to get it a little bit now.
I mean, you're dead on, but I mean, this team. I mean, Daniel Jones. I mean, this team is strapped. I mean, this is a disaster. And I mean, we're season ticket holders, and I mean, I'm trying to find anything positive, but good grief. I mean, that was an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
I mean, Ballard has made no picks. I mean, I've got this written out on paper, 12 picks on the defense, and not one guy has produced in the last 6 years. It's absolutely unbelievable.
And I want and thank you too for the call. I appreciate that. You call anytime. Rick Venturi brings this up all the time in terms of getting after the quarterback. He calls it first wave. They, other than DeForest Buckner, who is really good, and if I'm DeForest Buckner, I don't know why the hell I want to be here. Jonathan Taylor, you're getting ready to close out your career, and you're thinking that the magic is going to happen. I don't know if I'd be buying that. Maybe they feel differently about it. I'm not sure. But they don't have any first wave dudes. They just got, hey, all of us, hey, there's the quarterback. Again, they just don't have team transformational dudes. And with Chris Ballard, everything has been tried. I mention this often. Every avenue has been taken. For the past 9 years, you have given it your best, and it just hasn't worked. It is okay to move on from that. Well, why would you do it right now? Because you don't have any first-round picks. That's why it's perfect to do it right now, because everybody's soaking in it. Remember Madge and Palmolive? Hey, you're soaking in it. That's dishwashing Detroit. No, yeah, you're soaking in this team because there's just not a lot you can do with it other than bring back Alec Pierce. Hopefully. Get back to that point coming up in a second. Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, Colts CEO a little bit earlier. Back to that. Your calls don't go anywhere on what has been a very interesting Monday. Zach Osterman of the Star also regarding IU football, Peach Bowl on Friday, and making big-time headway inside the transfer portal to reestablish things for next season for Kurt Signetti and IU. Podcast 1075thefan.com. Stephen Holder was at that presser a little bit earlier. Stephen joins us, and also about the future or lack thereof here with the Colts of Mooney Ward. Stephen Holder's on the other side. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The biggest sale ever in celebration of the new year, courtesy of Zero Res Indy. Zero Resified, it is that time of year. Start your freshest year yet, clean 2025, right out of your home. 3 rooms starting at $119, plus a free hallway. Take 15% off regularly priced services, air ducts, upholstery, area rugs, tile, hardwood, and more. And Lord knows the Bowen family needs it, with plenty of spills on that carpet. Visit ZeroResIndy.com or call 317-388-5141. Tell them the fan sent you.
It's John for WeGrowHairIndy.com. 317-522-2995. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com. Do you want your real growing hair back again? Certainly you do. Hey, if you want to be bald, be bald. There's nothing wrong with you being bald. In fact, it's cool. You're bald. That's great. But I'm talking to people that want to get their real growing hair back. If you want to do something different like me, if you want me and the Steve Alford 83 do, feathered on the side, you can do that at 317-522-2995. Yeah, you think this is a dream, a myth? Absolute truth. And no Elmer's glue, no duct tape. This is your real growing hair. 317-522-2995. Darren Andrews will show you the way. Or hell, I can tell you all about it too. WeGrowHairIndy.com.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed, or your money back. No matter how many times you've failed in the past, this hypnosis is guaranteed to work.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I've lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Only $59.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Hypnosis Thursday, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis at 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss hypnosis 11 a.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 2 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
JMV here for my friends John and Chris Love at Love Heating and Air Conditioning. Make sure your home is cozy and comfortable during these icy cold winter months. Need heating service? Tell them JMV sent you. If a repair is needed, Love will waive the $95 service fee. And should you need a new furnace, Love is a Heil Heating and Cooling dealer. Call Love today, 317-353-2141. Let Love and Heil take care of your home today. 317-353-2141. Tell them JMV sent you.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Man, I love seeing the old gang at these reunions. Did you see Brian? He's in better shape than he was 25 years ago. How is that even possible? Yep, I ran into him a few weeks ago and had to ask. He told me he started taking Eugenics Total T2. The testosterone booster? Yeah, but it's way more than that now. It also skyrockets your nitric oxide in as little as 3 hours. I started taking it right away, and I'm already seeing results. I was wondering what you were doing. You seriously crushed watched me in that pickup game last week.
Yep, after 40, energy, strength, drive, it all starts going downhill. But with T2, I feel like my old self again. Stronger, leaner, and my energy is way up. My wife even noticed a difference. They're giving out complimentary bottles right now. Just send them a text. Text ROCK to 321-321 for your complimentary bottle of new Nugenix Total T2. Text now and you'll also get a free bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator. That's ROCK to 321-321. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Product not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
From the DriveHubler.com studios, this is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
WIBC HD2, HD3, Indianapolis. The Pacers are back at the field house to play the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
It's Jim Perry. Now talk to him, damn it.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
I think the hope is always to stay healthier, but I think it's also about, 47 seconds left in Seattle. It's about, like I said, finishing games. Kansas City, you lose your starting quarterback. That's on Chris and Shane to be able to find a way to finish those games because injuries are never an excuse. Every NFL club is dealing with injuries.
Carlie Irsay Gordon, Colts CEO, a little bit earlier. With the return of the battery of general manager and head coach, year 10, year 4, with Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen. Hour number 3, welcome to the show, The Ride with JMV 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Somebody had asked about 93.5 being full of static. Yeah, listen, tell me when it's not, because that would be a surprise. That's all right. Normally when it's full of static, it means it's raining. My kingdom for an incredible signal, by God. Yeah, don't get me complaining about that. That'll get me in trouble. People get a little pissy around here. Don't get pissy at me. Stop it. But that signal does kind of suck. But stop it. Stop it. We'll get to that. Zach Osterman a little bit earlier. That podcast regarding IU. Listen, you got to have a little enjoyment in it. By the way, Gutshot Greg, that was not a feature for all Gregs out there to kick me square in the junk, okay? No. Back to your comments and such coming up in a minute, and plenty of time to get you on the air, which I will. But on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline from ESPN and ESPN.com, it is Stephen Holder who joins us now. I thought there was nothing that Carlie Irsay Gordon was going to say today that was going to change most of the minds out there who feel that a change is drastically necessary. However, I think with the things that she said, it would have been better stated in a statement that's typed that everybody reads and not actually said. And I know you have to be in front of you and everybody out there and the cameras and the recorders and all that. But again, I'm on the side of change was necessary. I just did not think at all that was good and inspire any level of confidence moving forward with what was said earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I took the same approach that there was nothing that she could say today that would change hearts and minds because, people are dug in and they're emotional about this, and it doesn't matter. So that being said, I feel like I give her some credit on one front. I think the accountability front, because there are not a lot of owners who don't fire their leadership who get up in front of the cameras. They don't do that, right? So she broke with the norms in doing that today. And I was one who, behind the scenes, was saying they really should do that. And I'm not saying they listened to me, because why would they? Who cares what I think? But it was important, I thought, that they do that or that someone do that, because my opinion strongly was that it doesn't matter what Chris and Shane say, right? I mean, it ultimately, the person people want to hear from is the person who makes the decision. So we had that today. Look, she is very understated. She is not her father, and that's okay. I think the bottom line is people just have to accept one thing here, whether they like it or not. This is just a fact. None of this matters. This all has to play out, and they gotta play this out, and they got to make the right moves and show it in 2026, and that's when we'll know whether anything she said today matters at all.
Would you agree with me on this? And people, there's been some counter to me. And this is in terms of Chris Ballard. I thought that if you're going to make a change after 9 years, which you could have done years ago, but if you're going to do it this year, to me, it would have been easily transitional, considering how much are you going to be able to do, considering your circumstances with the roster and the finances and no first rounder. So I thought it would be easy to do that. Not to mention, to me, with what was said today, it is abundantly clear that sooner rather than later, there has to be a team president of football operations, an overseer. And I'm not saying, well, it's got to be Bill Polian, but it's got to be somebody like that, because this is just simply put, Stephen, not going to stink and work. It's not going to work.
Well, I don't know. It may not, but I mean, look, as far as like the second layer of leadership, a team president, what have you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Look, John, I don't care. I don't think that matters. Here's why. Because I think the vision is the vision, and she agrees with this vision right now, right? So you're not going to bring somebody in who disagrees with the vision. I will say this: I do think this is truly like a pivot point for Chris Ballard. His contract is up after this year. She was very clear. There's no discussion right now of extending his contract. That's a position they've never been in here. He's never been in a contract year. You understand that, right? Chris Ballard has never been in a contract year. He's gotten extensions. He got an extension, I believe, 2 years out one time. So, I mean, or at least a year out. My point is, this is new territory. And now they could go in there tomorrow and decide they want to extend him, but I don't get the impression that's where this is headed. So I do think that is important to emphasize here. And if he's in a contract year, then it becomes like any other person in a contract year, player or otherwise. And I think that's important. And the other thing I would say is that this is a little bit reading between the lines, but if you really listen carefully, and you got to really listen with her, okay? But if you really listen carefully, I think you walk away with the impression that this is someone who believes in being aggressive. So that Sauce Gardner trade that people have mixed feelings about, it's at least in line with her vision. Her vision is go get it. And how was free agency this year? It was much more aggressive. She reiterated those things and indicated that she agrees strongly with those things, and that's part of the reason why she thinks that Chris Ballard is on the right track. It doesn't mean they're going to work, right? But I'm saying we're getting a sense of who she is and what she believes, and I think it's important to know things going forward so we know what we're dealing with.
I took this as a decision of convenience.
Maybe. I mean, it is. Well, I would say this. Is it easier, though? Because you have pitchforks out for you now. The easier thing to do is to change for change's sake. I don't know. I mean, you could argue that, I guess, is what
I think you could argue financial.
Well, no, that's true. But I mean,
and I know that was asked today, too. I believe that was asked today about finances.
They get a $250 million check that, each year that they can just wipe their rear end with. Okay. So like money's not an issue. I'm just being honest with you, man. Like, I mean, they roll out of bed and money just comes, falls from the heavens.
Right. And there's a reason why pitchforks are out there, though, too, because as much as he said today, there are no excuses. There have been a myriad of excuses, a number of excuses, because the things that matter, Stephen, are results. And the results at best have been mediocre. And at worst, you're losers of 7 consecutive, sliding out of the postseason, having an unprecedented bad turn of events in a season that we haven't seen in absolutely forever. Those are the things that matter and should matter to people around here. And that's why I think decisions like that matter. And that's why I look at it as more of a convenient decision to come to that conclusion too than actually making a change.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that's possible, right? What I hear from her, and I can only go by what I hear, right? What I hear is we think that even though it didn't work this year, we think this is a different track than we've been on, and that given better fortune, it could work. Now, is that fool's goal? It might be. It really might be. Okay, I don't know. All I'm telling you is I think that's what she's saying. I think what I hear from her is injuries are not an excuse, but they are a reality, and they did happen, and it did change their fortunes, right? And I think if you make a change now, if you believe that the combination of Daniel Jones and Shane Steichen has the chance of being great. Again, this ain't me talking, right? I'm just giving you interpretation. If they believe that the combination of Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones can be very good, and Sauce Gardner and that secondary, like there's something there that they can hang their hat on. If you make changes now, you may never see that through, right? And you may never find out if you can confirm that was true, right? So I think the inclination here was, let's make sure that we're not wrong, or let's find out if we're right or wrong about that, as opposed to changing midstream. Digesting that as a fan is really hard after losing 7 straight, though. It's a problem.
Yeah, I kind of look at it like this, too. It's like that famous Richard Gere line in An Officer and a Gentleman. I got nowhere else to go. I mean, seriously, when you look at all these guys, like a Sauce Gardner won 2 games this season. It's not been a winner before. These guys don't have anywhere else to go unless they get cut. The Colts really don't have anywhere else to go unless they decide to move on from a piece here or there. You're kind of soaking with what it is. So if you wanted to make a change, not for the sake of making it, but because of the lack of results that have gone on for 9 years, I think it's personally reasonable and understandable. And really, I think it fits right now if you were to do that, as opposed to deciding to hang with something that looks like you're doing it for reasons beyond positive results.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say this. They're clearly not making changes at the top. I do think there will be change here, though. I will tell you that. I think there's inevitably going to be some possibly big changes. I mean, I look at that defense, and I think you're going to see some big names gone. That's my prediction. I don't know who, and, there's plenty of time to speculate, right? I think you're going to see changes there. I think you could look, I don't know. You saw Michael Pittman he raised the topic yesterday of his future. He was not pressed to do that, to be clear. I was in that conversation.
These guys see that, don't they? I mean, you see what one guy's doing compared to what you're not doing, and you can draw that conclusion, especially if you're honest with yourself.
All you have to do is look across the room at Alec Pierce, who, by the way, is going to make more money than most fans out there can even imagine.
And it is going to be that's what matters the most to me. And it's going to be here, right? It will be. I mean, are they going to do what's necessary to get him back?
I don't know that, but it is early. I will say this: there's not. I wouldn't say that thing is close by any stretch of the imagination right now. Now they have plenty of time, right? So I don't think that necessarily means anything right now. But they could sign him like tomorrow if they want to. You know what I'm saying? He's their player. We've seen extensions happening all around the league in the last few days, in fact, where teams are trying to catch guys before they maybe have a big playoff push and, drive the price up or whatever the case might be, right? I've seen some notable extensions the last few days for whatever reason. And so, the Colts could take that approach with Alec Pierce. That is not even remotely close to happening from everything I've heard. So
would the Colts want to do that right now, or is it more Alec Pierce wanting to investigate the financial landscape and maybe even find a better team, which arguably wouldn't be too tough to find?
I would argue that he would be very he would embrace that conversation right now, I think, from what I understand. Let's put it that way. And would he sign the deal? I don't know. But all things being equal, and Daniel Jones coming back, which is important to Alec Pierce. I think that's maybe a deal breaker for him, but I think that's going to happen. I think if he got a deal that made sense right now, I think there's a chance he'd sign it. But I don't anticipate that happening. I think it goes on a little bit longer and plays out.
Yeah, I know you got to run here. Mooney Ward sounds like a guy that's got a foot out the door to retirement.
He does. I walked away from that very similar mindset to you. I mean, look, maybe he gets some time away and he changes his mind, but he also was very clear. I can't sit on this for too long. I got to make a decision and let them know how to move forward, which is fair, right? Because they have to fill his spot, and it's an important spot. But I don't think you can listen to that conversation and walk away counting on him being here next year. No, absolutely not.
It's Stephen Holder. I know you got to run here. You got stuff to do, but I appreciate you hopping in here. It's always interesting to have. Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not sitting here shaking my fist at stuff, but there's a high level of disappointment in doing this over again when it seems long past time to make a decision. And people, in closing with you on this, people always say, especially in the media, they always say, you can't allow the fans to make decisions. You're going to be sitting with them. I think at a point, it's okay to let some of these fans make decisions because it's not like those decisions they've made organizationally have been that good. So maybe it is the fans you need to listen to at some point, after 9 years. And this is not all about Chris Ballard, but it has come and gone to me, his opportunity, and continue to dealing with this is really off-putting, and should be to the fans. So that's where we are, but that's what we're going to be dealing with for year 10 and year number 4 of general manager and head coach. Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com is on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Appreciate you dropping in, man. We'll do it again soon.
All right, you got it.
Stephen Holder on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. All right. I want to maintain as much decorum. I mean, I know it's not like when I use the term decorum, you're going, you don't even know what that means, which is pretty true. But I try, because I know it's really difficult for me not to be a jackass. I try very hard not to be a jackass, but I would have to ask you this, and I don't question, my abilities to understand this situation and to give you this particular opinion. But does anybody out there happen to think I'm unreasonable about it? Because I don't at all. To me, this is not like what people would normally describe sports talk radio stirring the pot to get clicks and that jackassery. This is like real and understandable. And doing this for a living, you don't normally get to be this negative, but also live in a world of real, reasonable, understandable terms like that. It's weird. I just simply don't understand how you can continue down this path. And there was nothing said in this presser earlier today, nothing that can be said to me that's going to change my mind. You gave it beyond the old college try, well beyond. And to me, it's of no consequence if you didn't get an extension. To me, it speaks more about letting this play out one more year when you've tried absolutely everything, and everything that you've tried hasn't worked. It seems like the writing is in bold print on the wall, and to me, those that don't understand it, and especially those organizationally with the Colts that don't understand it, I simply do not get. I mean, it'd be one thing if I just go full board jackass and just start yakking about stuff to be mad to get you guys to call in, but this is just all reasonable, commonplace theory that, by the way, has been backed up with the lack of results. There's evidence here. All right, curious your thoughts at 239-1070. James, where do I want to go here next? Let's go with Josh on line 3. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Good.
Hello, Josh.
Hello, can you hear me?
I got you, brother.
I just wanted to see if anybody knows why on TV they've stopped showing Carlie on the sidelines.
I didn't realize I guess I haven't noticed it. I didn't really think too much of it in the first place. I think that was more widely talked about than just around here because it became so commonplace. I will say, and Josh,
I noticed that they stopped doing it.
They didn't do it yesterday? I guess I didn't know. I wasn't looking for it.
Pretty much when
because I just expected
Jones started going down with the broken or the fractured fibula.
Well, Josh,
her.
I can tell you this. I think it would be within reason more like yesterday, for example, because that decision hasn't been made and people knew that there was going to have to be some moving forward decision. So I don't think that there was some big reason as to why, for example, CBS wouldn't show it, because that would be a point of reference during the broadcast. Matter of fact, I think, to me, CBS would miss a mark if she's down there and they don't show it. Considering that decision for the upcoming season was going to be made shortly thereafter that game. So I would put that more on the broadcast entity than I would. I'm assuming that, she would be down there and just this normal protocol for what she does.
And another thing I wanted to say is I've been a Colts fan since 84. My uncle took me to my first game when I was 7 in 84 when they came. And I don't really feel like I'm entitled to anything, but I feel like I've been robbed by her just saying that
you are
keep these guys around.
Josh, you are. You buy tickets, you buy gear, that's your disposable income. Advertisers with their advertising dollar, you expect sometime a return on investment. And this team promises a return on investment, but doesn't deliver. So people are going to say, hey, all the fans, you're the damn Skippy they owe you. They owe you because you're invested in them. And I'm going to tell you what, shout out to the fan base that continues to go back and watch this product that has been mired up to its neck in mediocrity for so many years now. No, shout out to you for doing that. The fans back in the day would just stop coming out. I went that final home game with Jacksonville. That place was packed. And there was no reason for it to be packed. They were done, and it was packed. So, no, thank you, Josh, for the call. I've always felt this way. You guys, making a buck is tough. You got all other things to account for in your existence, in your life, that doesn't necessarily revolve around a football team and a game. And the fact that you guys continue to come out, you are deserved a return on your investment. And I say this about advertisers too. Spend a lot of money on this product. You hear all this stuff about what we're going to do, and this is what we're going to do next, and you can count on this, and we're going to figure it out. And none of this has happened. Yet you travel down a similar path. Nothing wrong with that take, Josh. Nothing wrong whatsoever. Quick break. We'll come back if you're on hold. I'm going to close out the show with you. The final Colts roundtable. That correct? Top of the hour, too. Pacers coming up tomorrow night. Zach Osterman a little bit earlier. That podcast at 1075thefan.com. Danny Cannell will talk college football playoffs, specifically IU coming up on Wednesday. I think Aaron Taylor on later on this week. We are looking for Boomer Esiason later on this week as well. And I will tell you, we're going to crack open a brand new location for this show coming up on Friday. And I'm a bit aroused by it. I may have a roadshow arousal to share with you coming up on the other side. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Lowe's Closeout event means the final savings of the season are here. It's your last chance to get deals on seasonal decor, tools, flooring, and so much more. Refresh your home, check off your project list, or simply stock up on the brands you trust. Shop now to grab amazing deals before they're gone. Lowe's. We help, you save. Valid through 1/7. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
Nobody wakes up thinking they'll be injured in an accident. When it happens, hire Hensley. Attorneys that fight right here in Indiana. Call Hensley Legal Group at 888-HENSLEY or visit hirehensley.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Jake Query here. Each weekday noon to 3, guests appear live on the Java House Peel and Pour guest line. Use code JAKE25 at javahouse.com to save 25% on your first order.
This is the Fan Morning Show.
What a program. What a turnaround for Indiana football.
Truly, who in your right mind that really watches college football thought to themselves, yeah, but Indiana's still just a fairy tale. This is Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible journey so far. It was a joke when I was in school. I mean, you won a couple games, I'll bring on Alabama. And now you bring on Alabama and you run straight through them.
It's the Fan Morning Show. Weekday mornings on Sports Radio 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
I got nowhere else to go.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
I think the biggest one is, the standard hasn't been the standard. The sense of urgency has to be higher because it has been a good deal of time, and we have to be able to find a way to win and finish games and face adversity better. And certainly there are other, there'll be ongoing discussions with Chris and Shane about what we need to do to adjust and adapt.
It's Carlie, Irsay Gordon, the Colts CEO, a little bit earlier. My thoughts on what you heard, and then the aftermath of that. Podcast Stephen Holder, podcast Zach Osterman a little bit earlier, too. Danny Cannell later on this week. I mentioned, too, I'm very aroused, very excited by a destination on Friday. I don't know if it's written in stone yet, but I believe I'm going to Clayton's Country Bar, James, coming up on Friday. Clayton's Country Bar. So I'm going to have to go out and buy some cowboy boots. Yeah!
That's the first time you're ever doing a show from there?
I think the first show. I've been in there before a couple of different times because Clayton's a good friend. What about me in cowboy boots? Would that work?
It'd be a choice. I think you could rock it, though.
Yeah.
You need to get a full-on cowboy Stetson hat.
Yes. Yeah, but I can't cover up this incredible do right here. I can't do that. WeGrowHairIndy.com would not like a little coverage here. I'm not a hat-wearing dude. I got to show it all off. The lettuce, baby. Clayton's Country Bar on Friday, from what I've heard, which I'm excited. And hell, we'll hang out there and watch IU in Oregon. Whatever you guys think. Hey, by the way, too, also shout out to Ralston's Draft House on Mass Ave and Daniel on the game. What a great Friday show we had. I want to go back. That is a great location. Ralston's Draft House and owner Daniel asked for Daniel. And thank me later for that visit to Ralston's Draft House on Mass Ave. 317-239-1070 is the text line. JMV, the only reason I'm good with running it back is the fact that there isn't much out there as far as replacements. The available general managers have similar track records of suckage, and now that Tomlin won't be fired, there's no real upgrades at head coach. Am I crazy for thinking that? Jordan and Carmel, no, you're not crazy for the sake of wanting to get rid of somebody just to get rid of somebody. But this is just not the occasion to tell everybody out there that this is a no excuses program. Oh, but by the way, it's lost 7 consecutive and everybody's coming back. That doesn't make a damn bit of sense. And it doesn't make you believable to the fans out there. You don't get rid of somebody because the fans want to get rid of somebody. You do get rid of somebody or move on from somebody if the results matter and you haven't seen the results. That's clear. That's clear, that's fair, that's honest, and that's what the fans ask for. That's what the fans want. Not some same old no excuses, end of season, figure out the fades. I mean, holy hell, this has been forever. That's what would have hit. And if you were going to give what you ultimately gave in that presser, then have somebody type it out in a statement and release it. Don't say it. Listen, I've been around here long enough to know, I believe I know what most want. Like somebody had just asked me, hey, you do the Colts, network stuff, how do you do the diet? Because they want somebody that is real. And I am a great connector to those out there that are fans, those real fans. You guys matter. And decisions like this, when you continue down this lack of results path, it makes you feel like you're of no consequence. But no, listen, I may be a lot of things that suck, and I get it, but being a connector and relatable to everybody out there, and especially the fan base, is the reason. Yeah, I'm not going to break it down X's and O's, and I'm not going to nerd you up with a lot of stats, but I will be here for you in terms of what we all believe. If we're sitting on a stool at Ralston's Draft House and talking about it, that's the fans that I meet. And that's what makes it necessary, and that's why they've never, ever had a problem with it. And why should they? That's really what you should want. I mean, my God, you got to have a little bit of realism, don't you? At some point? There's no doubt that's the case. Cam is next at 239-1070. Is that Cam James that I'm going to right now? Hello, Cam.
Hey, John. How's it going, man?
Cam, great, brother. Go ahead.
Just a quick couple things. The first thing, I heard the words run it back, from I think the last caller and you too, and I think you'll agree with me on this. When I think of run it back, in Indiana the last couple of years, we think of the Pacers.
Yes.
And the reason they ran it back is because they had results. They went to the conference finals the year before, and they ran it back, and they got to the NBA finals. So if I got to, if people want to talk about possibly running it back, because with the Colts, I think they only have 2 options, right? You run it back, or you maybe blow it up, right? Because you don't have your draft picks. So they're obviously probably going to run it back. But what results have they given us? And I know Carlie said that there were some things that she saw during the season this year that stood out. But to be honest with you, when we started off 7-0, 8-1, how bad the second half of our season was, I don't even remember. And I don't even think about that first half of the season because of how bad the second half of the season was.
Well, and you want to flip it? You think Houston's thinking about how bad the first half of their season was? Probably not. They're thinking more about what they've accomplished now and going into the postseason and how they turned that product around. And Houston, I think, is a great example, Cam, of knowing who they are. and setting the pace on their own and having a group that kind of understands what they're about. I have zero idea that the Colts know what they're about. I think it's all like making it up on the fly and trying to convince the fan base out there that they know what they're doing.
No, and that I totally agree with that, because I was going to say this as well. I've said it the last year or two. Who is the leader on the Colts team? I mean, to be honest with you, because it's not the coach, because the coach says the same thing every time in a press conference that it's on him. Is it Kenny? Like, who is the one guy? Is it Kenny Moore? Is it Buckner? Is it Nelson? These guys that have been here the last couple of years? Because, I mean, I would like for one of these guys in one of these press conferences at the end of the season to make – I mean, if you're going to be here next year, maybe be a little more pissed off or fired up in a press conference or something. Because I just don't know. I don't see where the – like you said, it seems like every game or every year they're kind of just trotting stuff out there.
Yeah,
and,
it's long past due. I think the problem you're going to have with that, Cam, is you have to be sincere. There has to be a level of sincerity, and I think now is the time to where you don't talk nearly as much, and you're more about do. It is about proving and about showing right now. We're long past time where you can Band-Aid up with any comments of living in a world of being pissed off about the outcome or the results. You're in a time now where you either prove it or you are who you are. You're losing, and you're an organization that resembles more of the Bengals or the Browns in the past than you do what you want to be during your golden era of the Colts when Manning was here. So it's more about, to me, I want to hear less and see more, if that makes sense. Not see more Indiana, but see more in general than hear what they have to say about it.
Oh, 100%. But unfortunately, we've spent today talking almost, your whole show about them talking about it. So
that's why I mentioned hey, Cam, you call anytime. Thank you. That's why I mentioned regarding Carlie, Irsay, Gordon, if you're going to say that, you put it in a statement. Because listen, you're not going to turn anybody away from how they feel right now, and the majority rule is that they don't like what's going on, and they don't want to see the same old right here. So you put that in a statement, and everybody reads it. And then, if you want to shred it, tear it apart, that's okay, but at least you don't have it in the spoken word, which I felt earlier today made everything sound a hell of a lot worse. I think that's pretty easy to break down. Hey, listen, I'm not a genius when it comes to this, but I do understand what you guys are feeling right now. And there is no enjoyment, and I say this all the time, there is no enjoyment in being pissed off about things that are out of my control. Zero. And I try my damnedest not to be, but you got 3 hours to talk about things that you really, truly care about. And much like this team right now with its personnel and apparently bringing back all these organizational pieces, with the exception, I guess, of a defensive line coach going to Notre Dame, has opted to go someplace else. Everybody, for lack of a better description, is soaking in this right now. And this is not September and October. This is a mess. Like September and October was easy street. I mean, you're cruising down the road, and you got Tears for Fears and the top down. Everybody wants to rule the world. No bumps in the road, no potholes. Oh, but now all of a sudden, here comes the weather, and you got to deal with that. And we saw what happened even before the quarterback was injured, even before he was injury compromised. You saw things starting to turn. And then once things really went downhill, there was no stopping it. Nobody was capable of stopping it. And then you come out of today after 9 seasons of at best mediocrity, after 3 seasons of mediocrity or worse, and then you try to explain it off with, well, we're not taking excuses. We got to get better here and get better there. The problem is what you do is reiterate what every fan already knew out there, and they wonder even more after you say this, why something of consequence has not been done. So why do you really believe in this? other than these words on the piece of paper. And that's where we are. Thank you, Cam, for the call. You call anytime. 239-1070. Craig is next. Craig, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, just finer than frog here, John. Thanks for having me. I'm as I said on hold, I've just gone back and forth through this, and the day of the trade deadline, I was one of the only people in Indy that was really having a complete coronary about this, and I had fans coming at me sideways like, "Oh, why are you being negative? You're not a real fan." I'm like, "What have we won? What have we won at that point?" And we had won nothing. We hadn't beat Jacksonville. The only thing that we'd done to really check anything off the list is we won a season opener. Finally, we won that season opener. But that was it. So my question was, on a make it or break it year for a GM and a head coach, you're allowing them to mortgage your future with 2 first-round draft picks before you even say, hey, this Daniel Jones guy, he's our long-term quarterback. He's our franchise guy. You don't address that. You don't mention it. That was the understood you as in, well, we don't have any first-round draft picks now, so Daniel Jones has to be our guy moving forward. Like, I don't know what's going to go on. But, I can go around about this for hours, but here's my question, and I've heard, I want to ask you, and then I've heard a lot of other people say, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. But they weren't. The vast majority of ones that, say Colts Nation were not tired of it on that trade deadline. They had drank the Kool-Aid. There were people that had already put ourselves, in San Francisco, I think it is, for the Super Bowl. Like, what are we doing?
Let me tell you this too. Hey, Craig. You're talking to somebody right here, and I take no offense to this at all, but you're talking to somebody. I wanted to see them go for it. I like the fact that I wanted them to go for it. But here's the point I've made through all this, and then I'll let you finish before I get to a break. The point I've made is it to me is much like if you're going for the win with a 2-point conversion. All right. And hey, that's admirable. You're going for it. It's win or lose, and this really matters. And then you don't get it and you lose. Sometimes those that make those decisions, you do it for the right reasons, but you still end up losing your gig for the results. So to me, that compromises their future asset-wise for real, but I didn't mind in the fashion in which they went for it now. And if it doesn't work out, like most things haven't in the past 9 years, even if you have changed up your approach, it doesn't matter. The consequences remain the same. Go ahead.
But what is their motivation to change up their approach? And this is a rhetorical question because, as you mentioned, the stands are full. The games are still sold out. Now, what is the motivation? If you are someone that's new, that's taken the reins over ownership of the family business, and you're faced with, a dilemma such as this, what is your motivating factor to make any changes? The bottom line hasn't been impacted.
You realize and that's the difference. Like if you go back to the presser of a year ago and what the upper quartile stuff and, the fact that if you don't believe in Chris, then you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, we do pretty much know what we're talking about. And that's why, hey, Craig, I've been an advocate of every avenue has been exhausted. Every option has been exhausted here. That's when you find yourself with these similar results and understand it's time to move on. And when you soak in it, people don't believe you to be sincere and really believe in what you're talking about and your belief in this team moving forward. And then other reasons pop up, like maybe you're doing it just out of convenience and maybe it's finances. And then you have to start explaining out other situations. So to me, it makes plenty of sense to make a change right now, even if it's not an all-encompassing change.
Absolutely. I got one more question for you. And finances, you've been asking that for multiple seasons. So the question is, what happens next season? So say Trevor Lawrence has a need, C.J. Stroud goes down, whatever, and we find ourselves right here, 8 wins, maybe 9 wins. where we find ourselves for the first time being able to win the division for the first time in 9 seasons. What then?
No,
I mean, we're one and done in the playoffs.
And then
so
you make I guess, what people would understand as the and Craig, thank you for the call. The easiest decision of all time. I remember, and it was this time last year, and I was kind of shaking my fist, dude, saying, "Hey, I think I wanted to dynamite it and blow it up." And then I kind of looked like a horse's ass in September and October because all of a sudden they're winning, and let's get excited, and they're 7-1, 8-2. And now, as we found out, it had been better off had they blown it up last year, because then you would be on a path at least of kind of knowing where you're going. Shout out to David Byrne, who's coming to the Miraul National Center in May, double dip style, and the Talking Heads. They had a song called Road to Nowhere. That's where this team is right now. And you can say what you want about September and October and that feel good and your quarterback coming back and a lot of the same pieces, but directionally speaking, understanding who you are, I mean, all that are assets in creating a team that makes it to the postseason, that can win games in the postseason, that can sustain at a winning level, all of those assets in which you're looking for that are they're more intangible at times than anything else, you don't have. And you're on a road to nowhere. And it's not like you're going to get rid of a figurehead and all of a sudden go to figure it out. But you can't go in front of people and say there are no excuses and then do the same thing over and over again. Well, I went and soaped your windows during Halloween. There's really no excuse. I shouldn't have done that. And then, go back and do it again. Man, sorry about that. I threw corn at your car on Halloween. There's really no excuse. I shouldn't have done that. And then, come back out on Saturday night and do it again. And then people see through that. And you got to understand, too, if you're the Colts, these fans are a lot more savvy out here than they ever have been. A lot more privy to information, easily attained information. So I'm not suggesting the Colts are trying to fool anybody, but they're going to be on top of what really matters to them, what's going on with you, now more than ever. And to me, what you said today with the whole no excuse angle, nobody's going to buy, because coming back with everybody is essentially solidifying excuses being made. Quick break. We'll come back, close out with you guys a final time roundtable coming up top of the hour. More on the shows later on this week, and especially the Friday show. Clayton's Country Bar downtown coming up on Friday with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, it's JMV, and I only talk about the best, and the absolute best, Big Red Liquors. For that big game you and the fellas are getting ready to watch, you've got to have the supplies. Locally owned and operated since 1972, and you can always count on my friends at Big Red Liquors. The fastest, the friendliest, the cleanest liquor stores in the state of Indiana, and I promise there is one near you. For that big game, make it Big Red Liquors. For the location nearest you, that's BigRedLiquors.com.
107.5 The Fan and Franciscan Health present Good for the Heart Fridays. Listen to Jake Query every Friday to hear a heartwarming story from our local community. Jake knows firsthand the importance of heart health. Jake and The Fan have teamed up with Franciscan Health to make a difference, one beat at a time. Good for the Heart Fridays, brought to you by Franciscan Health Heart Center. Learn proactive measures to keep your heart healthy and schedule your heart scan at franciscanhealth.org/screening bundles. Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Only $59.99. Destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Also destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Hypnosis, January 29th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss at 5:30 p.m., stop smoking at 8. And January 31st at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking at 2. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. Here are just a few hot buys going on in January. Lift chairs starting at $5.99. Lazy Boy recliners starting at $4.99. Queen Tempur-Pedic mattresses, $71 per month. Smith Brothers sofas, $18.99. Up to 25% off all outdoor furniture. Reclining sofas starting at $6.99. Salem's Monday, free delivery. Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
The Pacers are back at the field house to play the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow evening at 6:30 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
Just an average guy with exceptional hair.
93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Hey, shout out to Spencer Thompson. Thompson's Furniture and Mattress being a part of the show in Columbus now. David Byrd and the Talking Heads. This is how it does feel. I'm going to get more about Thompson Furniture and Mattress down in Columbus, too. I dig that. Great dude, by the way. Great place down in Columbus, Indiana. Check it out today. You guys know me well enough, right? Like, I would much rather be talking about, positivity and having a good time with it, but this is just not the time and place to be able to do that. And I have a very difficult time not looking like a jackass in general, and that definitely would solidify that. So I get this. Toby Shields Bell just sent me this. And very logical. JMV, you keep saying that we need to make a change now. The decision has already been made. I don't think they're going to fire someone now. What we need to be talking about is what we can do going forward to hold them accountable, right? Toby, I'm going to stop right there and tell you. First of all, because the presser took place at the very start of my show with Carlie Irsay Gordon, the CEO, this is still fresh. So talking about what we're a part of and what we're in right now is more than relevant. And if I did get away from that, then I would lose an audience. Like, I get people all the time saying, well, you got to talk about something else, right? Because 98% of people out there, this is what they want to talk about. And that is not a rip job on anybody else's team. What IU football is doing, we covered that earlier. I mentioned Braden Smith, the Big Ten all-time career assist record, what the Boilermakers are doing, because we're going to have time for that. We're going to be like grasping upon the Boilermakers during this college basketball season. Now, I'm not trying to leave anybody out here, but this is still fresh in the mind, and people want to talk it up. And I will also, Toby, suggest to you that we're going to have plenty of time, and I mean plenty of time, to talk about the lack of options this team has moving forward. You look at it right now. What you see, in large part, is what you're going to get. So we have plenty of time. I mean, hell, I may be able to go back and re-rack some shows back in the fall and in the summertime, because what we see, unless you have some veterans that are going to bail, is what you're going to get. At some point, we're going to talk about just how important it is if your plan is to keep Daniel Jones, to make sure Alec Pierce stays around. So you have to make him financially secure that this is the great choice, and also secure that there's not a better spot, which would be clear to me. There's probably more than a handful of better spots out there that would also be great for his elite level skill playing wide receiver. And we got plenty of time to talk about that, but there are going to be really not a lot of changes to be made, because they've kind of made this bed where they are right now. And if they are, I'll be right stinking on top of it. Promise you that. Anthony is at 239-1070 next. Hello, Anthony. How are you?
JMV, I'm good, brother. How are you?
Anthony, I couldn't be better. Thank you for the call.
Hey, I was in Clayton's for my birthday. It's a good time, man. You're going to have fun.
I'm going to get some cowboy boots and yell, yeehaw.
Yeah, you should. But in all seriousness, I'm just looking around the league, man. You're looking at Liam Cohen. You brought it up with Houston. Like, you're looking at all of our rivals or competition have gotten better in the 9 years Nick Ballard has been here. They've even, Jacksonville's won the division, had a top pick, and then rebuilt again.
And may have coach of the year. Liam Cohen. So,
yeah, he's great. So my thing is, 9 years. I keep saying 9 years. Carlie was asked a couple questions, and she was like, "I need to stay in my lane. You're the owner."
Yeah.
Your lane.
Anthony, I tell you what, call me back tomorrow. I'll put you right on the air to finish off your call. But yeah, that is your lane. That's a great point. I'll tell you what, we'll leave that hanging, and we'll conclude that with you, Anthony, and you guys that didn't make it on the air coming up on tomorrow's show beginning at 3. Yeah, Clayton's Country Bar. This is great right here. JMV, put on cowboy boots and really tight Wrangler jeans with a tube sock in front, and you can call yourself Jason Aldean. Yeah. You think I need really tight Wrangler jeans and a tube sock in front and call myself Jason Aldean? That's Friday. You guys are great. The news. If your pro change, not so good today. We'll come back, discuss that tomorrow. Zach Osterman, Stephen Holder, podcast 1075thefan.com. James, great job out of you. You guys, fantastic per usual. Thank you for listening. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. It's Colts Roundtable coming at you.